We appreciate that support as well. That's fantastic. Thanks so much for all of that. Let's get right after. It's going to be a busy and fun week. What a, when you lose a game, and we'll get into it, and I'll give you thoroughly my thoughts on all of that. But as I sit here on a Monday, and of course that game was on a Friday, you've had some time to let that wash over you, and maybe you've rewatched it as I have, or kind of gone back and looked at some of the bigger plays of that game, the bigger moments of that game. When you've come back down from the disappointment of losing a game like that, you then immediately ramp back up. And in that way, I think it's nice to have Miami right after a loss to Virginia. That might sound weird, but I do think that this morning I woke clear-headed and thought about what the game means and how important it is in the rivalry. And, yeah, there's some things that we're not going to get because Florida State dropped the ball in Charlottesville. But one of those things won't be a lack of intensity and hardcore hitting in this game. I have a feeling that some of the things that need to be righted will. There'll be a question to be answered, several questions to be answered. I'll lay out some of what they are as well here in a moment. But I immediately felt the Florida State-Miami rivalry when I got up this morning. First thing I thought as I poured my coffee, I was like, I'm not thinking about Virginia. I got to talk about it. I got to make sure that I cover what I need to cover. But I'm thinking about, obviously, this Florida State-Miami game and what it means and the opportunity that Florida State has here. I sound a little bit like Mike Norvell with that, right? The opportunity. I know coaches have to think that way. They often do, and sometimes it feels like empty rhetoric. I think most of the time they do view it this way, but I actually do feel that way this week because we have some real questions now to be asked and answered after a loss like that. And at the same time, I feel like we might get some good answers here. There may be some we don't like as well. That's true too. But I think we may get some answers here that on maybe Friday night late felt a little desperate, a little nerve-wracking, a little frustrating, maybe more than a little. Maybe that carried over as you watch the rest of college football on Saturday, which once again revealed that there really isn't a dominant team that everybody's chasing. There are some teams that are upper crust that I would put in the upper echelon, that are teams that are likely to make the playoffs and are rightfully ranked in, say, the top 5. And then there's a whole bunch of teams that can quite easily lose a game like the one Florida State just lost on a Friday night or a Saturday afternoon. Like maybe more of those kinds of teams for a particular year than I can remember this early in a season being revealed. Maybe. That's a shot in the arm to some extent if you believe that to be true. I want to start with Virginia and what happened. Now, there's a lot there, so bear with me. But I rewatched it again this morning and really kind of enjoyed aspects of what I saw, hated certain other aspects of it. But I'll go through all of it here on my notes that I scribbled away at this morning and rather enjoyed it. One of the things that resonated the most as a negative in this game to me were the dominant yards after contact, the physical runs that Virginia had, the plays not ending as they should have when the original collision occurred. Virginia did to us in a lot of ways what we did to Alabama. You remember everybody talked about post-Florida State Alabama. Man, it wasn't flukish at all. They really knocked Alabama backwards a lot in the run game, on both sides of the ball. Florida State was more physical than Alabama, and it usually shows up not in a big, huge Pittman-like block, although that stands out on tape when you see it, but rather at the point of contact. So a play that's blocked up to gain 6 yards gets 9. And why? Because the guy falls forward and breaks a tackle. A play that you've got stopped for 2 turns into 4. And Virginia's able to stay largely ahead of the chains in the way that they had to in order to stay on the field and put together two really big-time back-breaking drives in the second half. And a lot of it is after contact, gaining 3, 4, and 5 yards beyond what the play should have gained based on what was diagnosed by Florida State's defense and what was blocked up by Virginia's offense. Now, you got to do the right thing and credit your opponent when you see that. I hate it when people take away credit from Florida State when they dominated Alabama physically. And you'll hear people, well, I'm just not so sure Alabama. Hey, man, you watched that game, I watched that game. On that day, everybody knew what was at stake. Everybody showed up to that football game ready to play, and Florida State was the more physical team. Full stop. Stop stutter effing your way through some sort of excuse. Will Alabama get better? Yep, and they have. More on that later. But that day, they were outcoached. Florida State was better prepared than Alabama, and they were more physical. It was interesting to me that Virginia did a lot of that to Florida State in this game. And a lot of situations, which we'll go through, really cost Florida State very early in this game. You know, it's funny, if you look at the post-game win expectancy using the same stats, same possessions, same yards per play, all of it, Florida State had a 60% win expectancy. But you have a turnover on your own 38 to set up Virginia's first touchdown. By the way, that was also aided by what I would call a ticky-tacky BS personal foul on Earl Little Jr. I'm not calling that as an official. They're pushing each other because of the physicality in the play, in the moment. Earl's got to gain composure there, but it was nothing egregious. If I'm a ref, I step in and say, yo, fellas, that's it. Next time I'm calling it.
Also, the refs cultivate it because they don't blow the whistle for the scrums, and the scrums go on and on.
Well, this is something that we've talked about before. It's a plague in football. It has never been the way the game is played, but it exists all the way from high school to college to pro football now, where plays don't end when forward progress has stopped. And you're asking for fights, you're asking for injury, you're asking for people to go over the top because the play isn't blown dead. What do I have to do to ensure that it is? Well, okay, now I got to pick you up and slam you because they're just not going to blow the whistle since I have you stopped. That's the whole pet peeve of mine, bothers me to no end, but you saw some of it there. Anyhow, back to the point I was making here, that sets up the first touchdown, the personal foul on Earl Little after we fumble the football on our own 38. By the way, fumbles happen. It's a great play by the guy making the tackle. I'm not mad at Sawchuk. It happens. It would have been 3rd and 6 if they don't call the 15-yarder on Earl Little. Now you tack on 15, and you see what happens there. They go in and they score. And really, when you look back, Florida State cost themselves so dearly twice so early in this game. The turnover on the 5, great play by the kid for Virginia, but damn it, man, you don't have to let them go back down and score now, and they do. And you flip this thing, and in that moment, you have, instead of a 7-7 game with the quarter coming to an end and you've established the run, which you have, instead, it's a 14-0 game, and they believe. And now you're in it. Now you got to deal with this. This is the stuff we talk about how upsets happen. Now they think they're going to win. You have to beat that out of them. Here's something I liked. Florida State came that close to beating that out of them. I don't want to compare and contrast everything to this year's team to last year's team. We know what last year's team would have done. Last year's team would have laid down. Last year's team would have gotten blown out. Last year's team would not have competed to begin with. Last year's team, whatever. This is clearly not last year's team. This is a team that will fight. Good. That's the way it ought to be. You don't get too much credit for that, but I will acknowledge it. Now your attention is grabbed, and I'll continue to go through the Virginia game, but you're a little nervous because of some of the physical plays that Virginia was able to make in the run game, and you know what's coming. Miami is a very physical team along the lines of scrimmage. And unless you pick yourself up by the bootstraps and finish a tackle and finish a block, you're going to get your ass beat. But there's a part of me, again, that's happy this exposed some things when it did. Now, there may be some physical and talent deficits that Florida State over the course of a year against the upper echelon teams might not be able to overcome. We'll see. This game will go a long way in telling us that. I'm not ready to say and assume that that is going to be the case for the rest of the year. Much in the same way that many of you reached out after the Florida State-Alabama game and said, look, I'm really impressed with what Florida State did, and they were clearly prepared and physical, but I'm not sure that's who they're going to be all year long. And that was a fair assessment. You could say, first game, all these different aspects of it, just as I can say, I'm not so sure Florida State is going to get kicked around at the line of scrimmage the way they did here in this game against Virginia. I'm not saying that I'm willing to assume as much this weekend against Miami. I have a feeling they'll be challenged by the defensive coordinator, and certainly he'll make some adjustments based on what was exposed here. You can't continue to have misalignments, and he brought this up, and misalignments expose you big time, I think, especially so in a 3-3-5. But you cannot have those misalignments because now all of a sudden a play that is going to be stopped for 3 yards becomes 8 yards because somebody's not there to fill. And, run fits are important. We all know that within any defensive scheme. But I think when you're misaligned and those mistakes being made in which it's not a lack of effort, but you're not where you're supposed to be, we got to get that cleaned up. Florida State was situationally a little unlucky. And again, I bring up the stats of this game and tell you that, hey, you play this game a bunch of times and it's the same stats. Florida State's going to come out on top according to the numbers. Games aren't played according to the statistics and according to the numbers. They're played by individuals. There's momentum. There's emotion. There are mistakes, mental and physical mistakes, all those sorts of things. But Florida State was able to scheme up a lot of what they wanted. So you respond, by the way, after all of that, and you come back with the drive that's really highlighted, I thought, by Keziah Holmes, showing a real burst and a physicality. Don't know why he didn't make his way back out there. Gus Malzahn saying that, look, he was coming off of injury. We've got a lot of talented guys. The injury part of that, okay, I don't know. Did he come over to the sideline and say, hey, I feel the injury again? He might have. We don't know that. And if we don't know that, we can't criticize it. If it's because you forgot about him, that's a problem, man, because he came in running hard. He came in running physically. He came in and provided a real spark and was nowhere to be found from that point forward. But you get down to the 5-yard line. We know what happens with the interception. It's a pass intended for Squirrel White, who came across the face of the formation. Jason Prevard makes the play. It's a great play. Gets his hand up. He's 6'2". Tommy is not. That's a devastating turn of events. And all those things had to happen for Virginia to get this win. And to their credit on that play, again, they brought pressure. They brought pressure on that play. They took a chance. They're like, we're not going to sit back and just let you do what you want to do here. We're going to bring pressure. We'll take a shot. It worked. Ball gets tipped.
It's probably a run blitz, actually, because we were running it down their throat.
Which, again, I think Tommy made a mistake there not giving. He has a give there. He chooses not to. When you go back and look at it, I think it's a walk-in. Not to Squirrel.
Yeah, no, Squirrel's covered.
Squirrel's completely covered. That's good defense.
Yeah. There was also a throw earlier in that drive from Tommy, or maybe it was the first drive of the game, in which there's a defensive end who bats the ball down. So it wasn't the first time that happened on the interception, and it was picked behind him. Remember, the secondary of their linebackers puts his hands on his helmet.
Yeah, because he's going to pick it. Yeah.
Now, that's not to try to suggest that Tommy didn't play a good game. Tommy made plenty of big plays as this went along.
Well, you're going to get this with Tommy. He's going to make big plays. He's going to be a reason you win some games, but he's going to make some bonehead plays. And, again, he's 5'10", 5'11", and he's going to have balls that get batted.
To your point, though, as we were talking about, how do we get this wrong? How do the Sharps get it right? You need to stack these types of moments together in order to put Virginia in a chance, and they were in the driver's seat from that point until you go on your run.
Yeah, and you think about it. The stuff that can't happen does happen. The penalties, the fluky stuff that gives someone a belief, as I just mentioned, to Virginia's credit, their physicality and energy they brought to the table. They came in there ready to play, and that is a good offense. But instead of 7-7, you're down 14-0. You get the Sawchuck touchdown on the Wildcat after you establish more of Deuce, and it's 14-7. Then you get the pick from Joseph, if I recall correctly. That is correct. Pittman Jr. scores off the Wildcat. Now it's 14-all. Great zone eyes all of a sudden really starting to show up here because Chandler Morris forces a throw, and you end up having that ball tipped, and you get the interception.
That's a bad play by him, and that's good defense by us. I think at the end of the game there was a lot of complaints about what about the pressure. Well, in that instance, there's 8 that drop.
Oh, it's all coverage,
and they've got 6.5 into block because the running back is chipping. So it's 7 on 3 to block.
Correct.
you can't throw that ball, man. And he did, and advantage us.
Well, right. And when you watch it again, you realize that's just great coverage. We played coverage on that, and he absolutely forced it. And this is what happens when you force the football. Herring gets the pick, and you're rolling. By the way, on the subsequent TD drive to take the lead 21-14, the 4th and 5 throw from Tommy and catch from Deuce, that is heady stuff, guys. That is a dime when you have to have it. That is great body control by Deuce Robinson on 4th and 5 to stay in bounds and get down. It's a great catch. Then you get the next pass to Deuce again. That's the one in which targeting, we benefit from the targeting call. It's the right call. I never say it's the right call when it comes to targeting for either team. That was the right call on that particular play. That, to me, looked like the definition of indeed targeting. And that's one where you're like, oh, that's an easy one. We got it right. Okay, good. Sorry, kid. You blew it. And then Tommy up the gut. I love that when we get down inside the 10 most of the time or anywhere near the 5, we will straight up run up the middle on your ass. We will do that. We'll pull guys, we'll kick you out, and we will run up the middle, whether that's Wildcat, whether that's Tommy on a delay. We love that, and we need to stick with that. That is grown man football. Didn't see any of it a year ago. See it all the time now. Those are hard yards to earn, and we'll do it. And I know that it's exacerbated by the fact that the one time we didn't do it is the tip pass and it gets picked off. And you're like, man, run the ball. But I think that's on Tommy on that play.
No, there's a run element call.
It's a run element call.
But you can take the option off if you want to there.
All right, so there we are. Now we get to what I think serves as another one of the biggest plays of the game. And again, FSU gets a little unlucky here. Well, a lot unlucky here. There's 1:18 to go in the half. Morris is about to make another stupid throw. In fact, does make another stupid throw. He's trying to hit Trell Harris, who's a really good player, on the slant. Jerry Wilson recognizes it, puts his foot in the ground, and drives perfectly until the very end of the play, which I don't know that I caught live, but I caught it when I rewatched it this morning. He doesn't stay on his feet, Tom. He sort of dives through to tip the pass. If he stays on his feet, it's a pick six. And I believe, we can't know, but I believe at that point, the circumstances of the game, Florida State having scored the last 21 points, the quarterback beginning to show signs that he's a little shaky with a couple of picks. You throw a pick six there, and it's 28-14 with a minute to go in the half, Virginia's done dealing.
Yeah, because you get the ball to start the second half as well.
Virginia, in my opinion, it's the little things in games that change them when it's a close one like this. I'm not mad at Jerry. I mean, he goes and makes a play on the ball. I think if he had to do it over again, he would have stood upright and driven through the defender. I don't think they're going to call it because it's driving through his arms. It's a poorly located pass. He's going to get the benefit of that, and I think he walks in. Instead, he tips it, and of course, the tip pass goes right to Harris, which, come on, man. Of course, the script says that ball has to stay up instead of down, and it goes right to Harris. Now, that pisses me off. We got a little unlucky there. Maybe a lot. But we added insult by having two guys, instead of making the tackle immediately, try to strip it. And instead of tackling Harris, he goes for an extra 25 to 30 yards, which means now they're at your 25-yard line in business with just over a minute to play. You've set it up. Now you make another physical error. This one is Earl Little Jr., who decides to go for a kill shot and doesn't wrap. They call that dominant contact. I hope we emphasize dominant wrap up and drive a bitch into the ground instead of dominant contact moving forward, because he doesn't, Jamari Taylor is 5'9", 200-plus pounds. He's very experienced. He's a bowling ball, and he just bounces off because he's a grown-up. He's a man. If you're not going to wrap, peace. And it was touchdown. Now it's 21-all. and you're back in the same predicament when you run into the tunnel that you had worked your way out of. So I'm happy they worked their way out of it on the road. I think there's a lot to glean from that. They will learn an awful lot from that. The things that they were able to do against Alabama to finish, they didn't do at the end of this half against Virginia. And, you come out in that second half, and Cromah gets that run to the Virginia 30, and you falter, and Weinberg misses the field goal. That's frustrating. That's a very makeable field goal. It's 45 yards. You've got to make it. That's one of those damn it, man moments.
It's also a couple of tough read options on 2nd and 5 and 3rd and 5 from the 25.
2 mistakes.
Yeah.
I believe 2 mistakes. I'd have to ask Gus, but I think it's 2 mistakes.
I think the Reed defender makes a hell of a play on one of them.
He does.
The other one, it's a mistake.
But if you're sitting here today mad, here's why you're mad. The next 2 drives. That's why you're mad. You're mad at the defense and you're mad at Tony White because of the next 2 drives. This will hurt everybody's feelings. One goes 12 plays, 74 yards, and features 11 runs. That is emasculating. That is humiliating. That is frustrating. 11 runs and a 12-play drive will indeed hurt your feelings. Kids' hands hurt. They're just going to run it. They're going to run it, and they keep running it, and you can't stop it. The next big run, the next big drive for Virginia is the 16-play, 75-yard. Very rare are you going to come out on top where in the second half of a close game you give up a 12-play and a 16-play drive. Your defense is getting exhausted. It's been on the field. You're getting worn down. We know how the game plays from here. And, listen, there's some amazing moments for both teams. I actually thought the right call was made on the bobble from Deuce. I think it's incomplete. I hate that it's incomplete. Deuce had such a great game. I know it rips his heart apart that he didn't catch that cleanly. It stinks that he didn't because it's a dime. And
that's a hell of a throw.
It's a great throw.
Yeah.
And it's a dime, and he just doesn't look it all the way in. It's a mistake. And, by the time he gains control, I do think he's out. I do have great respect for the thing that the ACC is doing that nobody else is. I like the transparency of being able to hear the conversation in the booth, because not only if you have a problem with the call can you hear how they arrived at it, but you can hear the faulty steps in logic as to, when you're talking about through an issue and somebody makes a leap in logic, or there's some sort of non sequitur that enters into the conversation where, no, stay on task here, brother. Wait, what's the call on the field? And you can hear it. You'll hear the mistakes. You'll hear the breakdown in logic. But they've been fantastic with it. It's followed the correct path. They have really gotten that right. I've never praised the ACC for a damn thing. They got this right.
They also have more super slow-mo cameras, because as they were reviewing the Randy Pittman thing, I'm like, are you kidding me? You have the perfect angle?
Of course you have the perfect angle
of the ball hitting the turf?
By the way, that's where I was going to go next.
Frame.
That's a catch for the ages.
Son of a, I'm like, this is, if there's anything.
Well, it's like they do at second base when they throw people out. We're like, oh, really? For a millisecond, his foot came off the bag. We're going to call that? Right.
Right. Yes, but if it's the other team that catches that, the umpire's standing in the way,
and
he's looking around, he can't see him. Yeah. Oh my God! But yes, that catch.
That's a catch for the ages. It's a hell of a play that after a breakdown, basically, and he just makes one unreal catch and deserves a ton of credit for it.
The ball is just frozen where he.
It never wobbles. It never
moves.
Not
a millimeter.
He's strong as hell.
Yeah.
And that is concentration.
He's also being dragged on the neck plate as he's going to the ground.
Yeah, no, it's a hell of a play. So in a nutshell, that's your game. You lose in overtime. It's frustrating. It's not ideal. It's not ideal. You just effed game day, which whatever. I'll live without game day. You kind of took the air out ever so slightly of the rivalry in the way it would have felt today. But I still feel an awful lot of that what for that I always feel for FSU Miami. And in fact, in the modern era of college football, you are not excluded from having a great season and making a playoff push, even when you lose a game in which you're favored. You can bounce back. You can learn from it, get better from it, and move on. I have questions as to whether they can overcome some obstacles based on the roster, but we'll see. This game will certainly put to test that worry, that fear. Maybe it's unfounded. We'll see.
It's such a strange time we live in with the playoff, because you have to run the table is my first thought, but that's not necessarily so. You have to run the table in the ACC. you could, in theory, lose your rivalry game at the end of it, but you got to get to Charlotte. That's what this did on Friday, I think.
I think that's likely true.
It forces you to have to go to Charlotte. But it all starts this weekend. Whether or not that's going to be a reality, that's possible. Because if you lose this weekend, that's off the table. And now we're talking about, what are you? What are you as a team?
Well, yeah, but
2 conference losses, I think you're Charlotte is.
Likely.
Okay.
Likely.
All right.
But just play the next play. I'm going to sound like an old coach. Just play the next play. College football looks very topsy-turvy right now.
That's true.
It looks very topsy-turvy. A lot of things we think we know about a team, hell, that we thought we knew about us. Or that we think we know about Miami right now. Or that we think we know about any number of teams, right? We'll see. A lot of games. Look, I think Oregon is good. I think Ohio State's defense is very good. I think Alabama's improved since they played us. Snapped the nation's longest home winning streak in Athens. To go do that, you got to be good. You got to show up. You got to play well. They did. It's there's a lot of stuff that still remains to be seen, and I'm just saying, play the next play. And what I like to say, based on the evidence I saw Friday night, for all the things I don't like, and there are plenty of things I don't like about what happened Friday night. I mean, Virginia running for over 200 yards is less than ideal, admittedly. But I think this team's put together with a little something to them. They're tough. There was no sort of wavering in confidence when it was 14-0. There was no we're panicking. What are we going to do? There's none of that. And again, you'd like to believe that every team has that in them because that's what competition is to show up. You're going to get beat. The other guy's trying too. As we say, they're on scholarship as well. There are going to be moments where you get beat. But in any competition, of course, obviously you respond to that. And not every team does, though. And we're watching which ones do and don't throughout the country. This is one that will.
I thought emotionally they were erratic to start the game, like they were wound too tight. It seemed like an overcompensation in the first quarter that led to some of the issues that they did have. It wasn't for a lack of will to be there. It was almost like it was too much. They needed to settle the hell down, and they did. But then I got to tell you, I did not like the body language of the defense in the second half after that 16-play drive when they cut to the sideline and you got a position coach and his players all staring into space like they've seen a ghost. We got to clean that up.
Well, I don't like the facial expression. I agree with you. I will say, though, they come back out and fight, and there's no,
They do. They get the stop in a situation where you kind of know what Virginia is going to call, but you need to go get the stop.
You got to go get the stop. And
then they get a stop in overtime after the field goal, which is deflating, and you've got to rise up and be strong enough.
Correct.
In that situation, they did. Kicker made it. It's great.
But point is, though, those are important things.
Yeah, they did get those 2 stops.
Those aren't nothing. I mean, they came back from 2 devastating drives and got 2 big stops.
And I'm here to tell you that Rawls in offside. That one hurts. I'm not usually the official guy. The ACC screwed us here.
Well, you thought you saw a flinch. Yeah.
The left guard. He did. It's a micro flinch, but it's enough when you're trying to look at the line of scrimmage. The left guard moved. That's hurtful because second and goal from the 8 or second and goal from the 13.
Very different things.
A lot different than the 4.
Yeah.
Painful.
Well, now you have no time to really wallow in all of this, and you're going to have to fix and clean up some things there with that alignment. You're going to also have to hope, because I think size and strength is a big part of this here. Sometimes it boils down to it. Kevin Wynn needs to play now and be out there and make a difference. You need another big body, strong sumbitch to help plug these holes in the middle. I thought Darryl played okay, maybe even decent. Not great, but not terrible.
We rotated a lot, too.
We did. I mean, you need another guy, and that seems evident. And you're going to need that guy against Miami because along the lines of scrimmage, by any metric you look at, Miami's very good. Very, very good. It's Jeff Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
This is G. Deckeroff. In 1979, my friend Guy Moore opened his first store. Over 45.
If you're just thinking about buying some shorts, you need to get them from Chubby's. And I'll tell you how and how to save money in just a moment. But they have an NFL line, which is really cool. Chubby's has the officially licensed NFL gear. If you're a fanatical fan, but you don't want to wear a jersey, like you're not a jersey guy. Maybe you're my age. And at my age, it's hard to pull off a jersey. You could be Tom's age, but I don't think you could be mine wearing jersey. So there's an elite alternative. Tom, pull up what we got here with Chubby's. Look at all these. Yeah, there it is. Okay. Show me the Miami Dolphins one. I've got my Buccaneers Chubby's shirt that they sent me, but I haven't seen what the Dolphins look like or the Jags look like. Oh, there we go. Look at that. I like the far left Hawaiian shirt for those of you just listening on the pod, but look at that. That is what we do right there. So a Dolphins game day shirt, and they need your help at Miami. So, wear your gear, be proud, do the right thing. For a limited time, you can use our exclusive code JCS for $10 off at chubbysshorts.com/JCS. Yes, that includes the NFL collection. Let those thighs hang out and let the good times roll. And here, for a limited time, our friends at Chubby's are giving you listeners $10 with the promo code JCS at chubbysshorts.com/JCS. That's $10 off your order with the promo code JCS, and that includes the NFL collection. Support our show. Tell them that we sent you. Express yourself and level up your game day wardrobes with our friends at Chubby's.
696171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
Games for Less, Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used games, as well as new and used consoles like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Atari 2600, PS4, and PS5. You name it. Locally owned and operated since 1994, trade-ins are not only welcome, but Games for Less pays more for your trade-ins than the big chain stores. That's not all. Games for Less now buys and sells new and used vinyl records to boot. George loves the Beatles, by the way. Reserve all the new releases today at Games for Less, conveniently located in the Walmart Supercenter Plaza on Appalachia Parkway.
Looking to upgrade your backyard, your business, or even your life? Then you've got to check out Southeast Portable Buildings right here in Tallahassee.
That's right. Southeast Portable Buildings has everything. Sheds, cabins, carports, and now beautiful decks to go with them.
Imagine a brand new storage building and a deck out front. Perfect for that morning coffee or for your family gatherings.
Need something custom? No problem. They'll work with you to find exactly what fits your needs. Big or small, simple or stylish.
And with easy financing options, you can make your dream space happen sooner than you think.
Southeast Portable Buildings, where you're not just getting a building, you're getting a lifestyle upgrade. Give our friends a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400.
Southeast Portable Buildings.
Big buildings.
Big decks.
Big dreams.
Southeast Portable Buildings on West Tennessee Street, just north of Capitol Circle in Tallahassee.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Troy Noel, good job. I see the green on there. Been a member for 7 months. He says beat Miami. Right. Shout out to Jeff for his betting picks. Won me $1K over the weekend. Let's keep it going. Yeah, I had a good weekend. I wish I had given you, well, I guess I do and I don't. I really wish I had given you guys my prop bets. Tom knows what that turned into. I sent you the picture.
Yes, I'll keep that on the low.
I don't. You could post the picture. It's a good one. Jeff's prop bets. We had a good weekend, gang. I'll have to get you some. I'm doing more and more. I'm starting to get a good feel for this. That one was. It was one of the good moments where you go to bed not realizing that you were on the cusp of winning this parlay. I won't get into the details here, but I will say, well, I'll get a little bit into the details here. I went to bed not knowing that I needed one more element to hit of this parlay, prop bet parlay. And, or at least I forgot because I was tired for the same reason that you're tired. And we were all tired from having traveled down south to go to one of our dear friends' weddings. And I needed Jordan Love And I felt good about that. I also needed Matthew Golden, and I'd forgotten about that. And anyhow, I had already hit on Hawkinson over receiving yards, Saquon Barkley over receiving yards, Michael Penix Jr. passing yards, Omarion Hampton, which you liked that pick earlier in the week for his rushing yards. So I had all those, and I just went to bed. I was tired, wasn't thinking about it. Glad I went to bed, because had I stayed up to watch a tie, I would have been furious. Woke up, glanced at the account, and went, holy hell, what happened? Oh, I hit my other 2 on the parlay. Boom! That's a good day at the office. So,
plus 31.94.
Was that the odds?
Yeah, I'm looking at it right now.
Well, plus 31.94, huh? That doesn't suck.
Well, that's a nice, I wish I had that to wake up to, because this was one of the worst sports weekends I've had in a long time. Clean sweep of suck across the board.
Well, Bucks lose, Knowles lose, Ryder Cup lose. What else? Oh, Mets. Sorry. Forgot.
It's all right.
Forgot. I'll pivot to.
Only been calling that for the last 2 months.
You
so
have.
It's all right.
You knew it.
It's
You knew
inevitable.
it. Listen, can I just speak broadly here as a sports fan? Short segment here. You're 1 and 2 teams in the country are Ohio State and Oregon right now. Florida State falls to 18. But think about this week. It's Florida State-Miami week. And now we've concluded the season in Major League Baseball. Toronto wins the AL East. The Yankees are hosting the Wild Card Series. Cleveland beats Texas 9-8, wins the Central. Mets eliminated by the Marlins for the 3rd time in your lifetime. Mets had the best record in baseball June the 13th. Since that time, they went 38-55. The rest of the season, 38-55.
That's right. Felt every bit of that.
They lose out on the tiebreaker with the Reds, who lost to Milwaukee, and you would have been in, but you got blanked by the Marlins, so they back in. Playoffs begin tomorrow. Best of 3 in the wild card round. Red Sox at Yankees. Juicy. That is at 6 p.m. All 3 games will be at 6 p.m. Between the Red Sox and the Yankees. All 3 games will be in New York City if it goes the distance. Tigers versus Guardians, 1 p.m. Padres versus Cubs on ABC. All 3 games scheduled for 3 p.m.
ABC, how weird.
Dodgers are hosting the Reds at 9 p.m. on ESPN.
Ugh.
The series look like this. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for any of these series if necessary. Obviously, these are all the best of 3. The divisional round starts Saturday. So we are set. Regular season done. Over-unders won and lost. If you feel however you feel about your favorite team at the end of a regular season, now we pivot to everything shortened and intensified postseason.
I'll tell you what, we weren't going to beat the Dodgers anyway.
No.
So I'm glad that they spared me 3 9 p.m. first pitches in the case of 1 a.m.s with the Miami game coming up this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, it would have been a disaster.
Yeah,
So,
you'd have been miserable.
spared. We're spared that way. Yeah, to watch us lose 4-2 because Ohtani hits a home run in the 8th,
Yeah, you're like, oh, of course he did.
Couldn't have done that at 9:04 p.m. We had to wait till 11:42.
You know, one thing that we got that we'll always get, and I know I got to get this to the news, but Tom, I like certain things. I like certainties in my life. I don't want to always be guessing. I like knowing that James Franklin ain't ever going to win a game that matters. I like knowing that I can count on James Franklin home, away, neutral, doesn't matter. If that other team's good, James ain't winning. That's how this works. His record, and nobody's record is all that good traditionally against AP top 10 teams. So I won't completely impugn James Franklin, but I will tell you it's a bit much. 4-21 is a toughie. He is 4-21 against top 10 teams as a head coach at Penn State.
That's the record you'd have if you were South Carolina State's head coach for 30 years and you always had to play Clemson or South Carolina every year.
Yeah, you might be
he's 4-21.
He won 4 times.
He won
it's a
4
miracle.
times.
Yeah.
But, South Carolina was down that year, but still.
By the way, I'll do you one better. Because if you're a Big Ten fan and you're a Penn State fan, then the Penn State Nittany Lions are in the Big Ten and you're aware of this. His record against top 10 Big Ten teams, the conference you're in, is 1-18.
I thought it was 1, yeah.
He is 1-18. He has faced significant struggles against the rivals in said league. Michigan and Ohio State. He's 1-13 against those two. 1-13. It's not like Michigan has been a dominant program for the entirety of Franklin's time there. Come on, man. He's 1-13. So there you go. That was the easiest bet of the weekend. Just going to take Oregon on the money line to win. They'll win the game. I don't know how, but they will. I'm just going to pick them to win the game. And they did. So there it is. And that's got to hurt. They're hurting more than we're hurting today. In a weird way.
Yeah, agreed. I've already dusted myself off for the Miami thing.
I'm ready to go for that, man. I'm ready. Let's go.
It's guard, center, guard. That's going to be a real problem.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? Also, when you do go after the quarterback, it's a completely different game plan. The other guy could run. This guy, if he needs to, he could, but he's not like
you know
Morris.
where he's going to be. You know where he's going to be. Can you line up and stop the run? Can you pull yourself up and stop the run?
Also, we're going to get isolated in man too much because everybody in the world knew about mesh rail for Virginia, and we didn't have an answer for that, and I didn't like that either. That was tough because they went to it in 3 or 4 key circumstances, one of which they hit the rail itself, which they had not needed in previous matchups with Stanford and NC State, and we looked like we had never seen that before. It was a little hurtful.
Well, listen, there are a lot of questions I already asked, and I said that will have to be answered in this game, and you can understand why Florida State is an underdog. Miami has the second best numbers for tackles for loss allowed. Like they're very good up front. They are 29th in the country in sacks allowed, 12th in the country at time of possession. They hold the ball. They stay on the field. They're 12th in that's 12th in time of possession. They're 29th in total offense. They're 24th in third down conversions. The advanced metrics like them as well. You can flip this and look at their defensive line, and it is also very, very impressive. They do some things. So, you're going to have to be good. But you knew that anyhow. It's not like you didn't. I mean, they know they're going to have to be good. The emotions of that game, the energy in that stadium. Can you start here in a game and present some problems for Miami to overcome? Look, Miami has a good offensive line. They have a good defensive line. But they've been in close games. I mean, we've watched this team not blow people out. So, I'm not going to assume much here about Miami coming in. I know a lot of our fan base seems to think we're going to give up 50. Look, is it out of the realm of possibility that you get beat badly? No, it's within the realm of possibility. Do I think that's going to happen? No, because the intangibles are things that we all understand exist in college football. That kids are subject to the whims of emotion. It can be a play or two that changes how a team plays or how a crowd reacts or the moment in time where the pressure shifts. I mean, we know these things.
We're going to learn a little bit about how good Florida's defense is on Saturday, if that makes sense. Because Beck was 11-20, 11-21.
It was a weird game.
Deep into that game.
It was, yeah. It's Jeff Cameron Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Local news now.
A man was shot in Tallahassee on Texas Street at about 4 p.m. Wilson's attorneys also asked to interview 2 jurors who returned the guilty verdict, but their request was also denied. This is Rachel Lene with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
This is meteorologist Paul Trombley with your Real Talk 93.3 weather update. Slight chance for storms this afternoon. Otherwise, cloudy skies with a few peaks of sun. Highs around 86. Winds out of the northeast, 8 to 15 miles per hour. Partly cloudy skies tonight. Chance of thunderstorms. Lows level off around 69. Sunshine mixed with clouds at times. Tomorrow, high of 85. This report is brought to you by The Lawn Johns. For all your landscaping and lawn care needs, visit thelawnjohns.com. Right now, it's 79 degrees.
Feeling sluggish? Wake up your body the right way with Vigor. The all-new Vigor Cold Plunge Tub from Hot Spring Spas is now available exclusively at Pinch a Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Boost circulation, reduce inflammation, sharpen your focus, and more. Elite athletes do it daily, and now you can too. Experience the power of cold therapy in your own home. Come see the Vigor Cold Plunge, available only at Pinch a Penny on Capitol Circle Northeast and Greer Road.
Hey, Jeff, what's up, buddy?
I was just thinking, they never tell you that when you grow up, one of the things that you'll miss are the games that you created with your friends in the neighborhood.
Wow, good days.
So I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played. But
And
they
you
don't
still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
You know, I like what I heard from Tony today. I mean, he's not a guy that is mealy-mouthed, and he's going to tell you what he thinks. When I rewatched this game this morning, Tom, there's plenty of good in this game. It gets lost in the shuffle because of the loss. When you lose a game, you don't really want to concentrate on the things you did well. You just want to hyper-focus on the things you did wrong. Now, that's the coach's job. I got all that. The coaches have got to fix the things that were wrong and the misalignments and all that sort of stuff. Tackling poorly after the initial hit is not something we worried about coming into this game. And that's where I've got to give Virginia a lot of credit. They wanted those yards. They fought like hell for those yards, and they were able to tack on 2 and 3 yards pretty consistently after contact. And I thought that those yards added up to be a big problem. It led to extra time of possession. It led to extra total plays. They could have been off the field on third down several times, but instead of 3rd and 5, it was 3rd and 2. That's much tougher to defend. And so you saw a lot of that. I have a suspicion that ain't going to happen again for this game. Now, there are some other things that I worry about that may very well be exposed. You know, I know in the chat, I just checked the chat for the first time since I read the comments, and I want to make sure I'm not missing anybody who's contributing. So I try to check it during the break. In fact, who did I not? First name John. I haven't heard anyone mention that this Saturday is Miami's first road game. They aren't ready for Doak at night. Beat Miami. Hey, that's not a terrible point. I've gone to the road at night with this place coming unglued, and it will be. And it does matter in college football. Doesn't seem to matter all that much in pro football, but it matters in college football. So I'm there with you. I'll read yours in a moment, Brock. But I think, Tom, that honestly, those they're not hidden yards because they're right there in front of you. You go to make a tackle, it's going to be 2nd and 7 if you make the tackle. You miss the tackle, a guy slithers out, or he just powers through, and the next thing you know, it's not 2nd and 7, it's 2nd and 6, it's 2nd and 5. Well, 2nd and 5 is a problem. That's a neutral down. You did not win and put them behind the chains on the first down play. Now they can call anything they want. And I saw a lot of that sort of balance available to Virginia because you didn't get them on the ground. You know, there's several plays where I earmark where that's going to be 3rd and 5. It's now 3rd and 1. That's going to be 2nd and 9. It's now 2nd and 6. That's going to be 4th and 2. It's 4th and an inch. Like, guys, you got to get him on the ground.
Yeah, and I thought he did make adjustments. In the first half, a lot of it was keep everything in front of you. In the second half, he tried to add and bring more pressure. Unfortunately, a lot of the times it was just picked up for far too long.
Well, there's a stretch where they do bring pressure, and also there's a stretch where they get owned. The offensive line for Virginia wins the battles.
Yep. And then you have a couple chances to make plays, and your guy crashes down like he's Lorenzo Featherston. And it was different dudes in different situations. But, you have somebody there to account for what they are looking to account for. And that could be alignment or assignment, but it's a teachable moment. That's
I don't
sure.
think he's upset with I think that's intended. I've now seen enough of what he's running on defense. You have too. I think that's part of what he does. He'll have guys crash down to blow up the interior of a play. It's not like the olden days when I played, you never would do that. But you see it now. But there are guys who are supposed to fill. He says that they weren't aligned properly, and then therefore the guy that would have been there to make the play is either in the wrong gap, and next thing you know, a 1-yard play turns into a 7-yard play, and you got a problem.
One of the alignment things I thought I saw in real time was linebackers communicating with the D lineman, slapping him on the hip, trying to move him over, and they wouldn't move. Now, I don't know who's right or who's wrong there. Maybe the lineman's correct on the call and the linebacker is wrong. But this was something that we said before. Linebackers' safeties are going to be tested in that game, and I don't think B-, C.
I didn't think the
C+.
linebackers played very well at all there.
Yeah.
They got exposed to coverage again.
Yep.
Got to recruit better. That's something I've been worried about for a long, long time, Tom. Really does bother me to no end. Okay. They're better this year, but they can continue to be better.
There's some people like Elijah Herring scores high because of the pick, but there are a couple of times you're going, oh, man, okay.
Yeah. Coverage issues. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Ira Schoffel will join us in that hour. Chef Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Ready to spice things up, Tallahassee? Slide into the all-new Tallulah Love Shop, your one-stop pleasure palace. From sensual toys and steamy couples kits to luscious aphrodisiacs and pheromone perfumes that whisper yes. And oh, don't forget the THC slushies, flower, 7-0 kratom, and sweet edible treats that hit just right. Grab your partner or come solo and see the all-new Tallulah Love Shop at 1530 Mahan Drive. More love, more fun, always at Tallulah.
Game day in Tallahassee starts with energy, and nothing fuels that spirit like Grassroots Coffee brand new End Zone Blend.
That's right. Every cup of End Zone Blend doesn't just taste incredible. It also supports our Florida State Seminoles football program.
Grassroots Coffee knows it's about commitment and being all in. Every sip of End Zone Blend helps push the program forward, supporting the grind and the climb.
So whether you're at home, have a business, or just getting fired up before kickoff, make End Zone Blend part of your game plan.
Support local and our favorite coffee roaster. Order Grassroots Coffee's End Zone Blend today at grassrootscoffee.com. And let's keep driving the Noles to victory.
It's that easy. Drink Grassroots Coffee and help support the Florida State Seminoles. And don't forget, you can get 15% off your first order at grassrootscoffee.com.
Grassroots Coffee's brand new End Zone Blend.
Grassroots Coffee.
Made for everyone.
Loved everywhere.
Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Tired of watching baseball score updates on your phone? Get off the bench and head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is your home for all MLB games in-state or nationwide. Enjoy the coldest drinks, Tallahassee's best wings, and watch your team in crystal clear comfort. And if you like to compete, come by Tuesday nights for CP Trivia and Thursday nights for Beer Bingo, where you can walk home with cold, hard cash. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachie Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Coming up next, more of the Jeff Cameron Show. Live and local on Real Talk 93.3 WVFT. Greta, Tallahassee. Your
Sports Flash Update on Real Talk 93.3 in Tallahassee.
NFL football, the Jacksonville Jaguars pick up a victory yesterday. They knock off the San Francisco 49ers 26-21. The Jaguars had 4 takeaways, a very good defensive effort, and Parker Washington had Jacksonville's first punt return touchdown in 8 seasons. Jaguars get back at it when they play host to Kansas City this upcoming weekend. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers suffer their first loss of the year. They fall to the Eagles 31-25. The Buccaneers are going to visit Seattle coming up next Sunday. And the Dolphins, who are 0-3 in action tonight, a chance to pick up a win as they are going to play host to the New York Jets, who also come in winless. This Sports Flash is presented by Progressive. Bundle auto and home, renters, or condo insurance and save with Progressive. I'm Matt Pauley on Real Talk 93.3.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Walk right through the door. It's all here to explore. With guys in the know and prices so low, it just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Budget Blinds at Tallahassee is your local window covering experts. They do it all: blinds, shades, drapery, shutters, even home automation. And they'll be there with you from the design to the measuring to the installation. Budget Blinds is with you every step of the way.
Hello, I'm Gary, the local owner of Budget Blinds of Tallahassee. Let us help you with your unique window treatment needs. Call us at 668-4835 for a free in-home consultation or find us online at budgetblinds.com/Tallahassee.
Hey everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
Love to compete on the dartboard? Then it's time to head to the CP. The Corner Pocket Bar and Grill is Tallahassee's premier dart bar, featuring steel tip boards and soft tip internet play. The Corner Pocket hosts leagues and tournaments regularly. Just check out their social media to find a time that works for you. And in between games, grab a pint and a bite in the cool AC, or enjoy yourself outside on the deck. Whether you want to catch a game or start one of your own, the place to be is the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, 2475 Appalachian Parkway. Tallahassee loves the Corner Pocket.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
man. It's game 2, game 3, game 4 won't matter anymore. I think same thing goes for year 2, year 3. Nope. There's too much on the line. People move it along real quick these days. Now, this particular one had his moment. Made me sad, Tom. I thought about you.
Yeah.
I like Sam Pittman.
Me too.
If something were to happen in which Herb Hand moved on, Sam, come on, baby. You've been a great offensive line coach your whole life.
Go Noli.
By the way, Bobby Petrino won't die. He'll just keep falling into jobs. And he got that one at 64 years old, despite any number of failures.
Yep. And he'll be Louisville's interim coach in 10 years, and this will just keep going back and forth.
You know, by the way, how long ago that single vehicle motorcycle crash that we all love, the 4 broken ribs in the neck brace, you know how long ago that was?
2010?
2012.
Okay. That feels about right.
Yeah. So the woman who fell off the back of that bike with him, the intern who he had given a job, football program, and a $20,000 gift. It's been 13 years since all of that went down. Wow. Anyhow, Pittman went 32-34 with the Razorbacks, and thus he was fired. He's 63 years old, and I think walking away from the sport, it was already rumored he was going to retire. That job was always going to be open, and there were a lot of thoughts about who might get that job. Now we know who's got that job. We'll see if that's temporary or for real. Obviously, it'll depend a lot on how the Hogs play moving forward. They didn't show up against Notre Dame. I know that. Did not show up against Notre Dame at all. Not even a little bit.
They were ready. They were ready for a new voice.
I do believe so. I did not touch on it in the first hour, but I will say a salute is necessary to you, Butts fans. I called it right. There are my Jaguars, Tommy, going on the road and getting a win over the 49ers. It was a head-to-head win that I needed against Mama. But also, the Jaguars are 3-1 for just the 8th time in franchise history. The Jags defense has now forced 13 turnovers on the year. 13 on the year. Far more than they had all of last year already.
Nice sweep for you this weekend.
Was it? I had the Eagles over the Bucs, unfortunately.
You had the Rams over the Colts.
What a great game that was.
So you're at 6. You're 6 up.
It's an ass beating. I'm unwavering in my focus this year, Tom. This is I'm kicking ass on the wagers. I'm doing well on Redemption Thursday. I'm doing well in all my other pools. I'm feeling good with the prop bets. I'm beating Mom like a drum already. It's all good right now.
That doesn't sound good for a first-time listener.
Monday Night Football, Jets and Dolphins, and you might roll your eyes, but man, am I intrigued. Whoever loses that game remains then as the only winless team in football this year. If it's obviously if you're the Jets, you kind of got to get this one, and you have a chance because I think you're about to play Miami when they're quitting. I think they're close to.
They might be Arkansas ready.
Really, you may see something tonight where you're like, "What is this?" The Jets are up 21-0. Oh, we're seeing the end of a man's head coaching career. Is what you're seeing.
Fins down.
We'll see. Denver is hosting Cincinnati in the later game, the 8:15 game. So at least you don't have to watch Jets Miami if you don't want to. I am intrigued by Jets Miami. I took the Jets on the road. I did. I said, screw it. I'm taking the Jets on the road.
You made it interesting for yourself.
Well, I just kind of feel like Miami wants to be done. I think they want to be done with that guy. Now, they should want to be done with their GM, too. And they should be begging the owner to sell. There's a lot of things. It's like me with the Pirates. You know, I'm frustrated, but my frustration is with the owner, GM as well. But what are you going to do? You just sit around going, well, if this guy doesn't die, we're just stuck with the dude who won't spend.
All I hear is from Michigan people that he's great, but he doesn't treat us like he treats Michigan.
It's rather frustrating. So anyhow, good for you, Jags fans. I've teased you over the years. I've ripped the butts many times on this show, but I watched you every week this year. And really, if you think about it, Jacksonville should be undefeated. They choked the game against Cincinnati away. They had that game won.
Oh, yeah.
They couldn't catch
that was bad.
Well, they couldn't catch the ball, which has been a plague up until they finally caught the ball this week. And I'm like, there it is.
Yeah, that was yards per play fest 2025, that game.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jacksonville's 3-1, as I said, and my Bucks lose to the Eagles in a weird football game that sees the Bucks get dominated in the first half and then totally dominate the Eagles in the second half with a chance to maybe come back tie, maybe even win it. Baker throws an unfortunate interception in the end zone. We'll just say this. What is going on across the NFL with special teams issues? It is unbelievable. So we get a kick, our first punt blocked. That's how you start the game. And I don't know enough. I've never punted. And I need to go and look and see what they're saying about this. That's the second time he's had his punt blocked this year. We clearly have a bit of an issue here.
Houston near missed 3 other times in that game, and Philly got close again on another one yesterday.
I mean, punt the ball, my man. He is on a leisurely stroll.
So that's a problem with him, but then also the special teams coordinator was the special teams coordinator for the Giants in the latter part of last decade into this one, and he led the world in block punts allowed across that period of time. So this guy just doesn't.
Why does he have a job?
Great question.
Now, we did make a 65-yard field goal, and I bore witness to it. That's crazy. And he seems to have figured it out. He later made a 58-yarder.
Yeah.
So we're all, okay, you're good. We've got you situated. Damn it, man. But you saw at the end of the Bears-Vegas game, that ball, they're setting up for the game-winning field goal is Las Vegas, and that ball gets blocked as well. Another field goal blocked. It's a scourge. It's happening everywhere throughout the NFL. Every time somebody lines up, I'm like, they're going to block it. You just start to sense that everybody's going to block a kick.
You could transport somebody in here. We like to call the guy maybe Frank Malone. He lived in the 70s. He died in the 70s. And you show him the kicking game now, he'd be like, what is this?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
65? And they block them all the time, too?
Well, the Jaguars kicker earlier in the preseason made a 70-yarder.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yes.
I was like, that dude just made it from 70 yards with room to spare.
That's one thing that you could definitely transport an old-timer here, and they'd be like, it's
be
unrecognizable.
Completely blown away, right? I thought of you when I was doing the roundup on college football because Ole Miss beats LSU, and I got to tell you, Lane's funny. This is all setting up. I mean, you saw him troll.
Oh, no, but that's what he does.
Well, he's good at it, too, though. But I am going to tell you, when he gets the Florida job, it's going to be the whole Spurrier Part Due thing. That's what we're going to have because he's going to chide. So it's Ohio. Go ahead.
I was just looking at their schedules. So they got Washington State this week. They got to bye, then Washington State. But then they do Georgia, Oklahoma back-to-back. So that's all about Mateer's health.
Yep.
But I don't know. You go 1-1 in those games, and maybe Lane will actually make the playoffs this year.
So Ohio State, Oregon, Miami. We know Miami's test. Florida State, 7:30 ABC, Doak Campbell Stadium, Bobby Bowden Field. Let's get it on. You mentioned Ole Miss a moment ago. Oklahoma will be playing Kent State the next time you see them, so we know what they're about. Texas A&M, might they be the best team in the SEC? Maybe. Mississippi State proves game. They're tough. There's their next game, 7:30 at night, SEC Network, Mississippi State or Texas A&M. Penn State, who lost because they played somebody good, and that's what they do. They'll be against UCLA, so you can go ahead and do whatever you want there. Indiana. Kind of interesting. They have started 5-0 in consecutive seasons. That previous program history, they had only started 5-0 twice. Once in 1910, when they were vanquishing teams like the White Stockings, and they also did it in 1967. Here's your problem, Indiana. Your next game is at Oregon.
Oh, wow. What a good uniform game that is, too.
Not till October the 11th,
Okay.
but your next game is at Oregon.
Well, we'll have time to watch that because we have a noon kick against Pitt on the 11th. That was announced today.
Yes, it was. I think that Pitt losing a game in which they're up by 17, it's the second time that they've now done this, has contributed to our noon kickoff. Us falling on our face against Virginia, Pitt losing yet another game. They're like, ain't nobody watching this. Noon it is.
At least it's on ESPN.
Noon it is. Texas and Florida this Saturday, 3:30. Alabama will face Vanderbilt. All right, Vanderbilt. But that's a big win for Alabama, 24-21. You know what else is a scourge? People outthinking the room. People relying and trying to show that they are embracing analytics in an aggressive way, the way that Dan Campbell does in the NFL. But Dan Campbell has had great success. You're not Dan Campbell. It's a 3-point game, Kirby. Kick the field goal and tie the game. Don't look at a sheet. Don't listen to a guy in the booth. Just look at the scoreboard and the time and say, I'm going to tie the game. I'm going to go ahead and tie the game, guys, so that we're not losing. I don't want to be losing anymore. I'm going to go ahead and kick the chip shot field goal and tie the game. And somebody's going to go, but the analytics say you've got to go for this. And I'm going to say, you can suck it. I'm tying the game. Here comes a field goal. It's 24-all. Go to hell. I'll check back with you later. What are we doing? Kick the field goal. I see this all the time now. People just eschew field goals as if it's their job. Like us, even early in games, you'll see it. And in the NFL, it happens a lot. And I'm going to go, look, I embrace a lot of the modern metrics. You and I both do. I get the math. I understand it. I like having an aggressive coach. I like knowing in certain circumstances, we no longer view it the way we used to, like dinosaurs, where you never went for it. You know, I used to see guys that'd be 4th and a half of an inch on the 48-yard line of a 3-3 game in the second quarter. Like, oh, punt it away.
Yeah, that used to be something that we would say back in the day. Like, you could just quarterback sneak
it there. You could get that. It's a half an inch. You're going to get it.
And then the older generation go, no.
You got to put it away.
You could fumble the snap.
You just don't overknow. You got to put it away. Hey, listen, if your ass was on the line, you wouldn't be saying go for it. But no, I would. I actually would. It's a 1/4 of an inch. I'm not even sure we don't have it right now. Remeasure that. Anyhow, so there's I'm not saying I want to go back to that, but buddy.
Let me ask you this. I had a debate on the postgame show. Would you have gone for 2 if you were Mike Norvell at the end of the game?
No.
Yeah, I agree. I was not on that side either.
No.
I can understand the logic of it.
I can handle it. I understand why the person was feeling that way, but no, I would have. We got to stop in the overtime and force them to kick a field goal.
Yeah.
No. I mean, we had recovered, I thought, from the 2 long drives and kind of gotten ourselves back together.
Well, I mean, hell, you land that 3rd down pass on that screenplay, and
well, that's a walk-in.
It is.
That's on Tommy, and that sucks. It's unfortunate. And again, I'm not sitting here trying to blame Tommy.
No, everybody took a turn for good and bad, I think.
Yeah. Oh, Tommy missed on a couple of gives that I think, hurt us.
Yeah, squirrel throw early, too.
Yeah, but he's got, oh, by the way, that's a terrible throw. That's his worst throw of the night. That's he's wide open.
That's some good scheme right there.
That's a great scheme, and he's probably still running. But anyhow, the point is he misses him by a mile. But the screen, the throwback is so beautifully set up. I mean, he's going to walk in, and he throws it at his feet.
That's one thing. The only black hole I see on the field so far is goal to go from about the 9 or the 10. I don't think we know what to do there.
We know what to do on the 5,
Yes.
typically, save for the 1 tipped pass. Yeah. I get it. And that should have been a give anyhow.
But how many did we have around the 10-yard line where it looked like, what was the plan?
Well, I hated the end. I mean, I'm not going to lie about that. Gus called a fine game. But, buddy, we look lost. Yep. We sent 2 guys out in the route, and I don't even know what we're doing.
The 4th and 2?
What are we doing on that play?
They didn't look like 89 knew. I don't even know who that kid is. I still haven't looked it up.
I don't like the 3rd down call either.
Apologize to his family, but I'm like, who? Why?
Yeah, who is that kid, and why is he in the game?
Does he run a 4.4 at that size? Because, we have a lot of good tight ends, like traditional ones, but we don't.
We got a really good one who scored twice.
Yeah.
Who scored twice in this game. I mean, he's really good.
Well, that's one concern I see in the chat a lot. Tony brings it up a lot, Tony Greco. But, the tight ends, the middle of the field, we have,
Well, listen,
Amari, Landon, Randy.
Agreed. It is kind of interesting. They are moving the ball, and they move the ball in this game.
For sure.
I'm not going to bitch about this offense right now. I think there are some individual plays that are troublesome. There's a lack of execution on a couple of plays that are really well-timed. And you got to execute those. I'm sure that's eating at Gus and Tommy and a couple of the guys who just you got to make those plays. But I think overall, I'm not going to unleash a barrage of criticisms for this offense because they can run the ball. They've moved the ball against everybody. You scored enough points on the road to win.
I agree.
Yeah,
this isn't the wholesale thing.
Yeah.
But it is a head scratcher given that, you brought Randy with you too. Now you're using him as a different type of weapon. But yeah, at half, at 21-21, we're averaging over 7 yards a play.
Oh, yeah. No, we had totally flipped the game on its head. I mean, that's why the last touchdown before the half is a kick in the cojones, because Virginia's reeling. And that tip pass, if that's pick 6, I think they're dead.
So your drives are stopped on interception, fumble, and OPI. Like that in the first half.
Yeah,
Those are the killers.
Yeah, the OPI was
I know.
Pretty weak.
I
think he got in trouble because he's so much bigger and he extended his arms.
Right. It's the technique thing.
It's the technique.
Sometimes you see a hole that's not a hole just because the guy's arm is around the other player, but he's not actually holding him. Actually, that happened yesterday in the Bucs game.
Yeah.
The tight end was mad at the holding call that we had. It was run to the left. Like, well, your hand's in the wrong spot. You're just asking for it.
That is a technique issue.
Yeah.
And I mean, listen, I'm not mad at that official, because what he sees is a big guy push off on a little guy and he sees the hand extended. But it really was. It didn't have an effect on the play. There was no real, I wouldn't have called that, and I would not have called. And again, you guys know, if you listen to this show, if you're new to the show, maybe you don't. So I'll clarify for everybody. I'm not the guy that bitches about officiating. I get that you're going to get some things that go your way repeatedly.
Yeah, as it relates to they're against FSU.
Right. No, I don't think there's any grand conspiracy or anything like that. I think sometimes incompetence is on display. But I don't.
Yeah, Boston College 2020.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's just gross incompetence. Yeah. I got to tell you, I brought it up in the opening hour when I was talking about, the process of how that game played out, how it illuminated certain things that I think moving forward will be good for us, how there are aspects of this loss that I don't enjoy by any stretch, but I think can be learned from and will help us. I'll tell you what, man. There's a lot to like about Virginia's offense, and there's a lot to like about that running back, and there's a lot to like about the way their receivers block. Ooh, buddy, there is some hurt your feelings, buck up, soldier. You got to get up and just deal with that sort of blocks out there. I mean, that one, is it on Joseph, or he just gets,
That's total commitment, and that also is a sign of a healthy room, which they needed desperately to have because Tony's on the outs, and he went and did what we did, which is go grab experience.
Well, their receivers block in a way that if you are not ready to engage, you're going to get hurt. I mean, I saw 2 or 3 blocks. The 225-pound receiver for them, that big dude, that was rough. There are like 2 or 3 blocks that he lays where he is pinning somebody to the ground. It's like, if we did it, I'd be like, oh, this is my favorite player. This guy's my favorite player. Well, I couldn't get mad at him. I was like, well, that man has a family. Can you please release him? This is a bit much, but I mean, that's what you want. Yeah, I remember. Sorry, one last thing. I remember we used to see this with a couple of our receivers in the Jimbo offense, where you'd be like, ooh.
That's where my head was going. Was that Willie Halstead? Who was that? I think it was the 2011 Miami game.
Oh, wasn't that Benjamin?
It could have been Benjamin.
It's Benjamin who just blows that dude up out the back of the end zone.
Yeah, it was Benjamin.
Benjamin just manhandles him. It's humiliating. Benjamin did that to a lot of people a lot of times. When he decided, when he got pissed off, and he's like, you know what, you're done. I'm done with you. All this grabbing. That Florida game on the road.
Well, that was something. No, once he realized, it was about the second quarter. He's like, oh, you're not going to throw flags?
You're not going to. Oh, so hand fighting's good today? Okay, I got this guy outweighed by 100 pounds. I'm going to throw him into the bench. And he did.
Also, Johnny Wilson was like that, too, in recent times.
But that kid from Virginia will do that to people. And it hurt my feelings seeing some of our kids on the wrong end of just a brutalizing. It's like, there's one play in particular. I watched it 3 times this morning. I was like, good God, sir. Don't do that. That's very mean.
You love those 95 throwback uniforms. You're playing like it.
That is very, very cruel what you're doing on that block, but it is perfectly legal. It doesn't look like it should be, but it is. Chef Cameron Show, 93.3 Real Talk Radio and Warchant TV. Hey, this is for my homeowner friends out there. You know who you are. When you get your grass cut, you're going to inspect the work, make sure it's good. Get your house painted, check around every corner and edge, make sure that's done right. Get a new roof, get eyes on those shimmering new shingles. Get your septic tank cleaned. Bet you're not popping your head down in there to take a look around. You got to trust it's done right. I'll make it easy. Go see my friend Greg Miller, Miller Septic. They're my guys. I trust them, and you can too. MillerSeptic.com. That's it. That's the commercial. That's the whole thing. Check them out. It's MillerSeptic.com.
You can depend on Florida farmers. We're your neighbors. Our farm is where we live and work. It's where we raise our families and provide for yours. When you see our logo in the store, you know that our name is on it because we stand behind it. When you shop for Florida-grown fruits and vegetables, look for local. Choose Fresh from Florida, the homegrown brand of Florida farmers.
Hey, you, can't you read the sign? It says, keep off the grass.
Oh, but I just wanted to feel it.
Excuse me?
I wanted to feel what it was like to have an amazing lawn like you do. It always looks so good, even in the summertime. How do you do it, neighbor? They're called Lawn Johns. They come once a week. Maybe you should give them a call so you can tell other people to stay off your lawn. How's that sound? Ooh, yes. I would love to tell people to stay off my lawn. For the very best in lawn care, call the Lawn Johns at 850-322-2567. Stay off my lawn.
Hey, no fans, our partner ISF Inc. is a national management and IT consulting firm located right here in Tallahassee, Florida, solving the future for state governments through strategy, process, and technology. As a trusted advisor for state governments, ISF knows the importance of defining a clear and detailed strategy. Our friends at ISF can help your organization create a strategy that sets you on a path to success. ISF, your vision plus our expertise brings your brilliant ideas to life. Visit ISF.com to learn more. ISF, solving the future.
T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com. We conquer all peaks. We fix those darn leaks. Call 850-766-1340. T-Spark Enterprises, roofing and construction services. T-Spark Construction.com.
License number CCC 1331204. Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
New Florida laws now require condo associations to create an online account with DVPR by October 1st, 2025. This is where you'll complete required reporting, including the Structural Integrity Reserve Study, known as SIRS, and provide important association information to help your condo stay compliant. For more information and to create an account, visit condos.myfloridalicense.com.
This message is brought to you by the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation and the Florida Association of Broadcasters.
From the championship stage to coaching change and everything in between, Warchant.com remains your home for the best FSU football coverage in the business. Brutally honest columns and features, market-leading multimedia presence across video and podcast, the largest FSU fan community with a staff that combines for over 100 years of experience covering the Noles. When change comes, Warchant.com is your home for analysis from every angle. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source. Sign up today.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
Rolling on Big River, let's bring my man in. Ira Schoffel, Warchant.com, joins us every Monday. A lot of meat on the bone, lots to talk about here. You all at once have Florida State's first loss of the year, road loss in the ACC, but a huge game in which your season could be rectified and, back on track if you beat Miami or rival. He joins us now. Hello, Ira. How are you, brother?
Good, man. Yeah, I thought, I caught a little bit of your opening segment. I thought you were saying a lot of the same things Mike Norvell was saying, that, it's the only positive of that game was that they will get an opportunity quickly to show how much they learned from their mistakes on Friday night.
Yeah, some of it is interesting to me in that they aren't, and you said this in your 3-2-1, and I thought it was spot on. This isn't the most talented defense in the country. It's not even a top 20 talent in terms of defensive personnel. But we've seen them play really physical, and we've seen them play really well, and we've seen them play really fast. We also saw them get beat up a little bit on Friday night. So which is it? I don't know. And some of these things will be because the personnel has got to get better, and some of it might just be an effort thing. What do you think we're going to see on Saturday night?
Yeah, I thought, Norvell's answer when I asked him about, a question along those lines today, was kind of interesting. He clearly doesn't, and I think he's right on this. I don't think it's coach speak. I don't think he's just trying to protect his players. He doesn't want to give off the impression that he thinks guys were not playing physically or playing with intensity or determination because of a lack of effort or that they weren't, focused or whatever it is. It was almost to me like he felt like they were either pressing or in the moment trying to think too much and not just playing. I think when you go back to the Alabama game, they just cut it loose, man, and they were just, balls to the wall and just letting everything go, and that was how they were able to be successful. I think in this game it seemed like maybe they were trying to think too much, trying to diagnose things, whatever it was. But he was very. It seemed like he was very determined to try to say it wasn't a lack of wanting to play with edge. It was something was holding them back, but he doesn't want to say exactly what that was. So again, my thought is maybe it was too much thinking. Maybe the scouting report was too dense. I don't know. I can't tell you exactly what it was, but I think that's good to know. And we'll find out for sure on Saturday, because if they don't play the way they did against Alabama, they're just not good enough to play at a high level defensively unless that's how they play. And we'll find out probably pretty quickly on Saturday.
You asked the question. You didn't get a good answer at all. What are your thoughts on why Keziah Holmes didn't come back out?
Well, he and Jalen Lucas both. Basically what they say is, they've got a lot of different backs, trying to get them all involved. But again, I think, especially from Gus, is a guy who in his career has kind of, ridden a hot hand, to have Keziah come in and have those two runs. Now, I don't think Keziah was perfect. I think that second run, maybe he could have got more out of it. Maybe he gets into the end zone. But it just seems weird that you have that kind of success and then you're not a factor. And Jalen Lucas is a guy who, in the preseason, I mean, think about every scrimmage we heard reports from, most practices we heard from, there were big plays from Jalen Lucas over and over again. Then you saw it in the Alabama game, and now here in this game he played 3 plays. I mean, that's just weird. So again, I'm sure there's things that go into it. There's packages. There's we don't know. We're not at practice. But it is worth asking about. And no, Gus Malzahn and Mike Norvell, neither one gave a real specific answer.
Yeah, you could tell Gus wasn't going to give you an answer the second you asked it. So I started laughing. I'm like, here comes a nothing answer.
Well, and listen, I hate asking questions and we give Corey a hard time about this sometimes, because I think in the opener, Corey was complaining about maybe Lucas not getting more touches. It's like, look, man, they just scored 31 against Alabama.
Right.
And in this game, they just have 500 yards of offense. So it's not like they were struggling, but it is peculiar.
What do you think is that? Well, let's stay on this subject. I've been very curious, not critical, but curious about the way that they rotate players, that they utilize certain personnel, that they do or do not play guys. You brought it up in your 3-2-1 column. You've seen like one game, KJ Kirkland, Omar Graham, they'll play a ton. Then they don't. Shaheem Brown played a lot in this game. He hadn't been playing much. Take me through what you think is the basis for this, because I can't figure it out. What the rhyme or reason? I'm not being critical of it. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I would just like to know more. You'd like to know that there is a rhyme or reason. And I'm sure there is. Maybe it's practice performance. Maybe it's attitude. Maybe who knows what it could be. Or maybe it's just matchups. We want a more physical player here. We want a more athletic player here, whatever it is. And it's still early in the season. It's a new coaching staff, so they're trying to figure things out. But I don't really have a good answer. I think the especially in a game where you played so many snaps and there were some long drives. In the Alabama game, man, they were rotating guys early in that game. First drive, I feel like that long 16-point drive, they were rotating guys. Now that was earlier in the day. Maybe it was hotter. In this game, it was nighttime, so they weren't as worried about it. But again, there's just things we'll have to see with this coaching staff and how it works. But it's hard to know, because sometimes that's a position coach's thing, sometimes it's a coordinator's thing. But I don't know. And then I think Shaheem probably was partly because Ashlyn Barker got banged up during the game.
Yeah, good point.
But KJ Kirkland didn't play much, and he's a guy that's played. So it's hard to get a feel for it.
I was, as this game played out, and then I felt a certain way about it. But then when I rewatched it, and I've subsequently rewatched it again this morning, there are some things I don't like, but by and large, and I don't want to ever discredit your opponent for playing as hard as they did and as well as they did. They needed a lot of situational things to go their way in order to get this win, did Virginia, and they got them. I mean, Florida State, what are the chances that ball gets popped straight up on the 5 instead of just falling to the ground? That's incredibly kid makes a great play, deserves credit for it. They brought pressure on the play, so it's intended. Jason Prevard just made a good play. It sucks, though, because it's going to be 7-7 at the end of the first quarter, and you've righted the ship. Instead, it ends up being 14-0. And then, secondly, obviously you miss a field goal. You could throw in the mix there that you got really unlucky on 2 or 3 different occasions, and all of that added up for you to lose in overtime. Did you think that situationally they just got a little unlucky in this game and you couldn't overcome it on the road?
I think they definitely got unlucky, but the problem is, and they also made some of their own mistakes.
Correct.
And like you said, I know you talked about it earlier, and everybody that's talked about the game has talked about the play where Tori mentioned it, the night on that wrap, the play where Jerry Wilson's got likely a pick 6.
He's got to stay on his feet.
And it turns into a 40-yard gain. And it's like the thing with, but they compounded it by not getting the guy on the ground. And the rule was stripping the ball, and people, generally the rule is you don't start stripping the ball until you've got the guy stopped or you've got like several guys on him. But if he's in the open field and you're just hanging on for dear life, you're not really supposed to be stripping the ball. Well, that's how the guy that gets the next 30 yards. And so, and then the Earl Little hit on the running back. I mean, that's just, they knew that running back. I asked Mike Norvell about it after the game. He's like, we knew that's how that kid runs. He bounces off tackles.
He's tough.
He is. And so, you have to know that he's not going to just go down because you came up and hit him. You hit him hard. That's great, but it doesn't mean the play's over. So yes, they got very unlucky, but they also brought some of it on themselves. And I thought Mike Norvell, I thought he nailed it today. I just used his quote in the headline for the story I just wrote. He said, we earned that loss. And it's like, man, that's important for the guys to know that they can't just point to, yeah, man, things went against us. We had some bad breaks. It was just one of those nights. No, man, you guys also contributed. And I think he's right to say they earned that loss.
You say that you think they'll play much, much better against Miami. I agree with you. I believe they'll play much better against Miami. I don't know if they're good enough, Ira, but they're going to play better.
Yeah, and they may be good enough. You think about Miami, and I think the reason the spread is as low as it is, this will be the best offense Miami has seen. I don't think there's any question about that.
Sure.
The way they've been playing, and I thought, man, it's lost in the loss. But, for that offense to go on the road in their first road game with all these new pieces and put up 500 yards offense, and I know it's not a great Virginia defense, but it is on the road. They were piping in music. It was loud. And so that's impressive. So Miami's got a task with this Florida State offense. And on the flip side, I think that they're going to play hard. They're going to play, with great reckless abandon, which is what they did in the Alabama game. And I think Miami now is in their first road game. They have not had to play on offense away from home yet. So, again, I think there's a lot that really should play into it in the Florida State's favor and give them a great chance in this game. To your point, though, yeah, Miami's got some individual players that are better than the guys they're going to be going up against for Florida State. That doesn't mean they're going to win, but that is something that Florida State has to overcome.
Would you have gone for 2?
I would have gone for 2, man. I really do, because and it sounds like Mike and Gus didn't really discuss it. But I think, man, to me, that game was, you had a chance to steal that win, because at that point they would have been stealing the win. You really should have been done when you went for it on 4th and 1 and didn't get it. The game, Virginia should have been able to put you away. They didn't. You get a chance. You convert a 4th and goal from the 11 touchdown pass to tie it. And I just think you try to steal it on the road. To me, it was very much like a basketball team on the road, and you got to shoot a 2 or a 3, and you're on the road and you're not the better team. Man, let's just shoot the 3 and see what happens. I would have gone for 2, but I understand why they didn't. There's a lot more risk going for 2 and not getting it than if you go for 1 and losing overtime. But I thought their best chance to win would have been go for 2.
It's interesting because generally speaking, when I think you're the better team, you don't have to do it. And I think Florida State is the better team, but you're arguing certainly that they weren't the better team that night. And they didn't
exactly.
Right.
And there was no guarantee you're getting stops. I mean, there was no way you could have watched the first 60 minutes of that game and thought, oh, yeah, we're going to get stops in overtime.
Right.
But that's why. But I agree. You are the better team, and I'm sure that's what Mike Norvell was thinking. Man, we're the better team. Let's just get to overtime. But I just don't think you were playing good enough on defense.
Anything else about the game that you want to add here? There's a lot. I could go over so many situations, but all in all, I credited Virginia. I thought they brought a physicality to the game that it took a little bit for Florida State to respond to. I don't think it means Florida State's in trouble. I don't think it means that the Noles are going to spiral. I do think it means, obviously, your margin for error isn't great. You can lose to some average teams. It looks like a lot of college football teams can lose to some average teams if they don't play well. Georgia Tech should not have beaten Wake Forest. Found a way to steal it down 17 and win by the hair of their chinny chin chin because Wake did go for 2 and didn't get it. You look all around the country, you see this every Saturday. I think the Noles are part of a large contingent of teams that are pretty good, but nobody seems to be great that we can recognize just yet. Maybe Oregon, maybe Ohio State, but that's about it, right?
Yeah, and listen, man, even that Virginia team, and I like you said, we give them all the credit the way they played that night. That was awesome. I think Chandler Morris probably has some 4 interception games in him. And I just think that, their decision, and they're the underdog and they're trying to win at home and they're going to lay it all on the line. But when Florida State is taking over the game, they're up 21-14, almost throwing a pick 6 there is crazy. Like if I'm Virginia, man, let me get to the second half.
Yeah.
But instead they're trying to score and they almost have the game collapse on them. I think they've got a lot of nice pieces. I think he's a nice quarterback, but I think they're going to have some ugly losses, and that's just this conference. I mean, Syracuse beats Clemson, comes back and gets hammered by Duke. I know they have the quarterback that got hurt, but still, it's wild from week to week. The downside for Florida State, the biggest regret from that game is now they just have no margin for error. And, the way college football is, you probably need some margin for error.
Yeah, it almost feels like a must win in terms of your lofty goals of making the playoff. I think you have to win on Saturday.
Yeah, I do too. And I think if you do it, you're in great shape because you may be favored in every other game you play.
Sure.
If Clemson doesn't rebound, and I don't think Florida's going to rebound, you're in a great position, and maybe you've learned the lesson that you need to learn from that game. Again, I don't know what it was that caused some of the guys on defense to be tentative. I'm going to agree with Mike Norvell. I don't think it was a matter of just being lackadaisical, but the bottom line is they got to figure it out because that's how they have to play.
The smash tonight, good sir?
Yes, sir. I can't let Tom and I are going to lament, or you could jump on too. We could talk about our baseball teams that didn't make the playoffs.
Oh, well, mine didn't make the playoffs months ago, sir. I don't need
mine too, buddy.
I stopped lamenting that a long time ago. Be well, brother.
Thanks, Justina.
Yeah, later. Yeah, no, the sorrow in my heart about not making the playoffs probably happened the 3rd week of the season. I was like, well, they're not a playoff team. That's about the end of that. I could see this. I just followed along and watched Skeens kick ass, but yeah, we'll see. You guys are on the Smash together tonight, right?
That is correct.
It'll be fun. I don't think all is lost here. I'm surprisingly not all that pissed. Maybe a much younger version of me would have been pissed, but I think it has less to do with my age. I think it has everything to do with the state of college football and the expanded college football playoff. You're not done. This would have killed you back in the day when 2 teams played for the national championship and all the rest went to a damn bowl and nobody else was in a playoff. It was just the 1 versus 2. Like, this would have killed you. But this doesn't kill you in the modern college football era.
No, it doesn't. I think the extra day helps too. Gives you a little extra buffer, time for some perspective, that the emotions can die down so you process them. Also, this team is likable.
They are likable because they play hard.
They do. And I really wish a lot of things didn't happen on Friday. And about the game, yeah, I'm still mad about it. But this group has a personality to it that I like. And I look forward to seeing them on Saturday because I think I fully expect they're going to play very well.
I think they will too. I will say, if you were going to pin me down and say, well, what do you hate about the game? Well, a 12-play drive that features 11 runs. That can't happen. That's humiliating. That cannot happen. So get that fixed. Jeff Cameron, Show 93.3 Real Talk Radio, Warchant TV.
Local news now.
A Tallahassee man, 23-year-old Darius Avant.
What's up, gang? It's an easy one. I've told you guys on the air before. Now, Harry's doesn't know this. Harry's makes razors. They know that. But they don't know that on the Jeff Cameron Show, I've talked about using Harry's. See, I've got the razor right here. Now, this is set up to go to travel because I am traveling this weekend, so I've already prepared. And they gave me a nice little travel-sized bottle to bring with me. Sorry, you want to see this side? This is Harry's. They sent your boy razors and wanted me to talk about it. But I was like, I already use Harry's. I love Harry's. So this is easy. I'm kind of obsessed with razors. It goes way back. I started by getting angry at the cost of razors. You all know we're all men here, and it's difficult. Well, maybe not all men. I don't know. Women might use the Harry's on their legs or something too. I don't know. But the point is, for years, I was searching for the right blade. And I didn't want to spend $1 gazillion on razors. And then finally, I settled on, by accident, Harry's, and now I won't use anything else. I only use Harry's. First of all, Harry's owns their own factory. They've been perfecting and manufacturing these blades, the whole blades process they've been perfecting for 100 years. So you're getting the very best blade, and I want my blades sharp. I don't want to have to struggle to shave my face. I want to get in, get out. Look at this baby face. Look at it. I shaved using Harry's this morning. For a limited time, our listeners can get Harry's trial set for only $8 plus a free gift at harrys.com/warchant. Head over to harrys.com/warchant to receive our exclusive discount. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support the Jeff Cameron Show by letting them know, and Warchant for that matter, that you heard about it on this show, okay? So harrys.com/warchant. Tell them we sent you. You're not going to regret it. I'm telling you, fellas, Harry's, it's where it's at. harrys.com/warchant. I would have my buddy come over, and then we'd make up these games that were kind of like a hodgepodge of every game that you've ever played.
Kind of like the bikes we built.
Correct. Yes. And it's a grand experiment. In the beginning, nobody knows how to play the game, and you argue about what the rules are going to be. And in the end, everybody knows how to play the game. By the end of that summer, you know the rules, the neighborhood know the rules, and you play that game like it's the greatest game ever played.
But they still try to break the rules, right?
Oh, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. But at the end, Eddie, you're never going to play it again, and you'll think about it the rest of your life.
And the best game you ever played was that game.
Never been a better one.
Hey, you want to have a Gordo Smash, Jeff?
I do. I'd like that. Gordo's, bringing the flavor and flair of Cuban food to Tallahassee since 1996.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
All right, let's move forward here. I got to catch up on a lot. Our thanks to Ira Schoffel, as always. They'll be on the Smash tonight. He and Tom, 7 p.m. Brock writes, unfortunate loss last week. I want to give a quick shout-out to a former teammate of mine at Dunedin High, Trey Beard. He's going to be a horse in the rotation next season. All right. I like it. Thank you, Brock, by the way. Appreciate it. MJB, let's stop the hurt. Shake it off. Get ready to stuff Miami. Thank you, MJB, 5150. Appreciate you. Thoughts on James Williams being a waste of a spot? Never lose your nerve.
Boy, the postgame was rough for James.
He's having a tough go, man, and I do think it's worthy of looking at here. He seems to be a specialty player, Tom, but not one that is so far exceptional in any way.
Yeah.
So if you're going to
been a tough first third of the season.
If you're going to be a guy who does one thing well, you have to do the thing well. I'm not seeing it. And the other things are just not who he is right now because he's not big enough. So they just, if I'm an opposing offense, I'm running at James when he's in the game because I don't think he can set the edge. And so I'm going to say to him, I'm running right at you, and I don't think you can handle that over the course of 4 quarters. Now, listen, I'm sure James has a lot of pride and would argue that point and disagree with me. That's fine. I just know what we're looking at right now, and I'm not seeing the ability to do that consistently. And if you can't do that, fine. Not everybody did that well, but you better do the other thing well. Early in his career, and I've ended up being wrong about this guy as a pro, and I have no problem saying it, and I've repeatedly said it just so that people know. Brian Burns was a guy you could run at because he was light. He was long and lean. Now, he played with great leverage and a lot of strength, and he could get after the passer. But he was a guy that I felt like teams would try to take advantage of in the run game. His pro career has turned out to be even better than his college career. His pro career, he has played with leverage. He has gotten stronger. And even though he's still somewhat undersized, he is productive in every facet of the game, and he deserves all the credit. I ended up being wrong about him. I thought that facet of the game would come back to haunt him. But the thing is, he had the other facet really locked in. He could always rush the passer. He's gotten better at the other aspect. Kudos. If James Williams could only rush the passer and was a menace on 3rd and long, 2nd and long, you'd forgive the fact that he doesn't hold up against the run.
I think you got a chance this weekend because you got a quarterback who wants to stand back there and scan the field. If it doesn't happen this weekend, and I get it's a tough offensive line he's going against, I get the assignment, but also the goal of what he's trying to do is get to a spot rather than are we mush rushing, are we containing, what are we doing here, what are the rules going to be? There are no rules here. This is you just go get that quarterback.
Go get the quarterback, man. We'll see, Tom. I don't know. Thank you, Jags, and go Rams, writes Never Lose Your Nerd. Appreciate that. Jags and Knowles, very callous to L's after last season. However, those white helmets are cursed in my opinion. We always play badly when we wear them. I will tell you this. I like the look on Friday night. I like the white out. I like the white on white. I like the white helmets. I like all of what we wore on Friday. But, yeah, man, we haven't consistently played great in those uniforms. It's a fair observation, but it's not the uniform. 2 Live Hollywood became a YouTube member. We appreciate that. Says, I think it's also tough to ask a team to go to 10 playing Bama, go down to 4, playing the other 2 schools, and then back up to 10. That's a lot, especially being a month since you were at 10. Oh, I see. Yeah, energy levels. Yeah, I don't think it's ideal to have played 2 cupcakes right after Alabama. I think you may be right about that. I think you can play 1 coming off that Alabama game, and then, you know, if you've got a mid-level game like a Boston College or something, you might have been better prepared. Sure.
That's the one thing where I'll say I don't want to hear too much about look ahead spots or emotional leverage of the game. They were installing for Virginia during the buys. You could have been more ready. That first quarter was a disaster, and it's what cost you the game. I think the first quarter was what cost you the whole thing.
Yeah, I agree that it largely made up the reasons why you lost. But the thing is, you're coming out and you're driving the ball there. You get the stupid push-off call, which I don't agree with. And then also in that same first quarter, you have the tip pass. It's so unlucky. It's going to be 7-7. You're all right. I don't know. They got a little unlucky there. That's nonsense. Is it time for Amari to go to defense? Well, if they're not going to use him on offense, sure. Daryl, go Noles, beat Miami. Agree with the sentiment. Yes, sir. Thanks for the contribution. Appreciate you. 7 months. 7 months. Clayton writes, do we need to just execute better on defense against Miami, or do we need to implement changes to the overall game plan, i.e. more man coverage / blitz? Well, you're not going to change up too much of who you are. I bring this up a lot. You are what you are. You run what you run. There are obviously some elements that you can change and other aspects of what you are that you lean on game to game changes based on what the other team's trying to do. But, you know, it's not as if Tony hasn't shown the ability to change. They can be, you know, sort of a different looking team week to week when you go back and look at the Nebraska tape. I mean, he had plenty of games where it's a 4-man front. Games where it's not exclusively a 3-3-5. He's still doing that now. You may not have the personnel. We'll see. Maybe you do. You did against Bama, but we'll see. Something may have been exploited here, and you may have to. When you're relying on so many young guys up front, Daryl's not young, but you know they are relying on the Desir twins to play a lot. You may not be strong enough yet. I mean, they may be very strong for their age. They may be very big for the year that they're in. But if you're going against a grown man offensive line that's been there for 4 years, that can be problematic. I thought Virginia center had a whale of a night.
He did. And so did 90, their defensive tackle. When he was out of the game, the runs were a little bit easier to come by for Florida State. Yeah, I'm not not there yet on Tony, the second guessing and stuff. He has opponent-specific game plans. There's some things that I wish that we did better, like guard mesh rail. And at times, we were in man for those calls. I'm like, man, how did they get us out of zone and man-to-man coverage just in time for this call? Crossers, you're dead in the water.
Well, that's why
you don't want to play man against Miami. That's what got Notre Dame roasted, though. That would be my short answer to that question.
No, and I don't think we're going to. But you do need to win up front. You do have to have, times that you get pressure on the quarterback.
Yeah, pressure versus laying back, sure, here for that discussion, but not zone V man.
I agree with that. But you're going to have to get him off his spot, and you're going to have to make him uncomfortable. We do know this about Carson Beck, and people love to rip Carson Beck. I'm not one of them. I think he's good. And I've thought that even when he was being criticized at Georgia. I thought his receivers really let him down at Georgia in his final year. Has he had moments where he's not great? Yeah. No, he's not a perfect prospect. I'm not telling you that he is, destined to be the best quarterback in the NFL. I am saying that he throws it like an NFL quarterback. He has the requisite size. He spins it that way. And when you give him time, he goes through his progressions. He knows what he's doing with the football. He understands the offense. He understands what's being asked of him. He understands the assignment. You got to get to him.
He's very good, too. It's almost like he sees a spot on the field rather than the receiver's hands or numbers.
Right.
When he sees a coverage and he sees space, he's so good at layering it just to a spot.
That's what I mean. He throws it like an NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
That's what he makes those throws, and he's always made those throws. And I remember from the first time we saw him, I went, "Oh, damn it, Georgia's got an NFL quarterback."
Right. And he does so with quiet feet, but if you get his feet moving.
Get him moving, he can look really rattled, and he's had those moments where he's looked poor in those situations. It's going to be paramount that Florida State do that. Final hour, bonus hour. We'll be live here with you today. Jeff Cameron Show 93.3, Real Talk Radio, and Warchant TV.
Water is your home's worst enemy. It finds cracks, soft spots, and weaknesses. But not on our watch. At Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing, we're veteran-owned and built different, driven by detail and the pursuit of excellence. We install seamless gutters, underground drainage, and waterproofing systems that don't fail. Because when you live with discipline, water doesn't stand a chance. Gutter Solutions and Waterproofing. Visit guttersolutions.net. With us, it's personal. A roof isn't decoration. It's your home's first line of defense. At GSWP Roofing, we treat every build like it's mission critical. We're GAF Master Elite certified, led by a former Marine. And we don't cut corners. We execute with discipline, precision, and materials that hold the line. Storm after storm, year after year. Repairs, replacements, full installs. This is roofing done by the book. No excuses, no shortcuts. GSWP Roofing. Online at gswproofing.com. With us, you're covered.
License number CCC 1335048.
Barry knows school. He's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows school. You can put him to the test. Barry knows heating and air conditioning. Keeping you comfortable. Is what Barry does best.
No matter how busy life gets, your home is the place where your family and friends show you they care and celebrate with you. That's why the professionals at Barano Heating and Air Conditioning always make sure your home is comfortable. Just like those who matter to you most, Barano will always be there for you.
This is Tyler from Barano Heating and Air. Now you can schedule an appointment, purchase or renew your service agreement, or pay your bill from your mobile device. Any day, anytime, anywhere. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air. Online at baranoac.com.
Florida license number CAC 1816186.
Barry knows heating and air conditioning.
Here's the cold, hard truth. Your body needs more than you're giving it to stay healthy. And now it's easier than ever with Vigor, the all-new cold plunge tub from Hot Spring Spas. Available only at Pinch A Penny Pools and Spas in Tallahassee. Cold plunges reduce muscle soreness, boost mood, improve sleep, and so much more. It's not just a trend, it's science-backed wellness. And now you can have it in your own home. Ready to feel alive again? Pinch A Penny has the exclusive home use solution. Visit us on Capitol Circle Northeast and take the plunge.
Pay-per-view fights can ring up big bills, especially since in the Octagon there is one every few weeks. That's why the 7th Hill Tap Room right downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill carries every single fight. Plus, unlike most pay-per-view bars, there's no cover charge. And drink specials too, like $3 select domestic beers and more. And if you enjoy international soccer, 7th Hill opens early. $2 mimosas on Sundays, anyone? The 7th Hill Tap Room, 2475 Appalachia Parkway, just downstairs from Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
Look at your screen, everybody. And if you're just listening, you'll see that or hear that I'm about to talk about HelloTushy.com. HelloTushy.com. You think, what in the world? And I thought, what in the world? Now, I understand bidets are used the world around and not necessarily all that much in the United States, but that is changing. And here's the deal. I'm an open-minded guy. I wanted to know, well, what's the benefit? Why would I use it? Why would I have a bidet in my house? Why would I don't know. It felt a little weird. I thought it would be a little weird, but there are benefits. And I did know that. I've heard that before. First of all, you reduce itching and irritation and micro tears. They'll tell you that. This is soothing water instead of toilet paper, scratchy toilet paper, or damaging wipes, And that whole process is kind of, when you think about it, it's nasty. It's nasty. And I found out that using a bidet is far more sanitary and actually very, very easy. And so I said, yeah, let's go. Send it to me. Send it to me. We'll try it in the Cameron household. And I have to tell you that it's not just the copy. It's not just what they tell you. It's true that you feel cleaner. You feel better when you get done using the bathroom when you have a bidet in your house. So look, give it a try. You'll be surprised that you'll like it. It benefits you, and you are saving tons of money. You use 80% less toilet paper. I mean, I would think that the percentage is higher, but that's what they told me. 80% less toilet paper, and it comes with a 30-day hassle-free return. So if you don't like it, if you're uncertain, you go, I don't know about a bidet, Jeff. Well, I can tell you that, they sent it to me. It was very easy to set up, took seconds. It works. It's great. But it may not be for you. So if it's not, you can send it back, 30-day hassle-free return. I know people want to know about that. So there you go. You have that option. But I don't think you'll return it. I think you're going to like it. And by the way, I love their call to action. I love this, what I'm about to tell you, because old school Jeff Cameron Show listeners will remember this. Hashtag a-hole. We're bringing it back. We're bringing it back. Remember, a-hole is only a dirty word if you wipe. For a limited time, our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order. And you use code WARCHANT at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at HelloTushy.com. Go to HelloTushy.com and remember to use the promo code WARCHANT. You're going to be surprised. I think you're going to like your bidet. HelloTushy.com, promo code WARCHANT.
After the win, at Finn Chiropractic, they'll get to the root of your pain and deliver the solutions. Book your appointment online at FinnChiro.com, and you'll even get an online discount. Visit FinnChiro.com today and find your path to a pain-free tomorrow.
Some men follow the crowd. Others take the long way, the wayward way. At thewaywardgent.com, we've curated the gear, gadgets, and grit every respectable man needs, from the fairway to the fire pit. We've identified the top-rated Amazon finds, so you don't have to. No fluff, just the good stuff. Visit thewaywardgent.com for the man who's not afraid to live a little off course. Thewaywardgent.com.
I'm Michael Garrison, third generation here at Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee. It's a common misunderstanding that a metal roof is more expensive than a traditional shingle roof. At Metal Roofing Sales of Tallahassee, we'll show you how affordable it really can be. A metal roof far exceeds the durability and lifespan of a shingle roof, saving you thousands of dollars over time. Not only do we have the technology to fabricate and produce the best materials, we have the most experienced contractors to install your roof as well. And we will match or beat any other price in tile. Find us online at metalroofing.sales.net. You can trust the 3 generations of service under one roof.
Broadcasting live from Florida's capital city, this is the Jeff Cameron Show, brought to you by Orange Theory Fitness on Real Talk 93.3. Now, stop what you're doing and listen closely. It's time for the Jeff Cameron Show in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Also, thanks for watching on Warchant TV on the YouTube channel, and thanks for supporting the Jeff Cameron Show. Maybe later on you're listening now because you've downloaded the pod. I appreciate that too. Pod numbers continue to be great. We continue to grow, and that's because you guys have been fostering that growth. I appreciate that.
The last couple months have been something.
Yeah, it's great to see, and it's exciting to do. It gives you a little pep in your step when you come into work every day. And listen, it's just a long conversation between a bunch of like-minded and sometimes not like-minded Nole fans, and that's great. It's good. And non-Nole fans, we reach a lot of people. I meet Miami fans all the time and Gator fans all the time and fans of Georgia and Bama and Tennessee and others who listen to the show all the time. So that's good.
I think that's
share a passion.
It's a question. It seems like you agree with me. I think that's what I'm going to ask tonight is just, do you like this team? Like, are they likable? Because I find that they are. Through a third of the season. We're already through a third of the season, so embrace all these weeks. I like them.
No, I like them too. And I think that the difference is they didn't – listen, there was no – we disagree. I'm looking at somebody here. He didn't think that they got up for the game in the same manner that they did for Alabama. I don't think the question from the Virginia game was a matter of want to, effort, focus – intensity. I mean, I don't believe that that's what that cost him. I do think this team is maybe lacking in terms of upper crust total talent. I don't think they're an elite team as far as the roster goes. I think they've got some really good players. There's some guys that I like a lot. There's some real good football players that aren't transcendently athletic, but just good football players. No, I think they're going to lose. If they don't play well and they don't execute, especially on the road, you turn the ball over twice, one on your own 38 and the other one when you're going in to tie the game, you're going to have a hard time winning football games. They're not so good that they can overcome that. They nearly did. They're up 21-14, and you have a pick six. If he doesn't tip it, if he catches it and walks in, you're going to win the game. But he doesn't. Kudos to Virginia. He makes that catch. Does Harris, goes down, gets an extra 30 yards because you don't tackle him. These are mistakes you can't make.
You're correct, and then that was contagious the rest of the drive with the tackling. Obviously there's a touchdown on the end of it, but you saw a stretch at that point of extreme passion from Virginia and a little bit of, whoa, what is happening to us from the Florida State defense that moment. I think that I wouldn't mistake that for not caring. I would look at that and say, oh, that's momentum taking shape. But I thought they fought very, very hard. I'm not trying to win moral battles here.
No, I want to win games, and that's a game they should have won, but they didn't.
They're pretty good, and I think they're going to play well again this weekend. I think
they're
very likable.
I think the question coming into the game coming up against Miami, I mean, obviously they'll show up. They'll be over the moon to play this game. Hopefully they're not too emotional. It's hard for either of these two teams not to be. This is a great rivalry. That atmosphere is going to be unreal at 7:30 at night in Doak. It will be intense. It will be hard-hitting. I don't think there's any question both teams are going to show up and be out for blood. I don't worry about that. What I worry about is fundamental. Are they strong enough and deep enough in the trenches to deal with a Miami team that's been built that way? Miami has been built. Cristobal believes in it. I agree with Cristobal on this. You build through your offensive and defensive lines. He's a former offensive lineman. He gets it. He wants to stockpile talent on the offensive line. He wants size and depth. Florida State's got to do more of that. Hopefully they're in the process of doing more of that. They're better. They shipped in a bunch of very experienced veteran offensive linemen that have already had a great impact on this team. They run the ball exceptionally well. They ran the ball well against Virginia. Will they be able to run the ball against Miami, who's a better equipped team to stop it? And then conversely, I don't think Florida State's all that talented on the defensive line yet. I think they got some good young players there that are going to be productive against certain teams. I don't know if they're strong enough against others. We'll see. They were against Alabama. They played well in that game. They're going to have to bring it. They're going to have to play recklessly. As Mike has pointed out, they're going to have to just lay it all on the line because I don't think they get by otherwise. But could they? Sure. They absolutely could. And they have some speed in the back end that I like a lot. I think there's plenty of talent in the running back room. There's at least 3 guys in that room that I like as plus players. Tommy's running this offense the way you would want Tommy to run this offense. Is he an exceptional quarterback? No, there are aspects of his game that I've never liked. He's not an exceptional passer. Has he had some moments where he throws the ball really well this year? Absolutely. And, for the most part, he's taking care of the football. That got a little unlucky in this one, but that tip ball goes right to the guy. That makes a play.
Right, had to follow him.
It's a crazy play, but no, and he does make plays with his legs. So look, though, they may not be good enough. That's a different conversation. It's a different conversation than anything like we had a year ago. And I think as the year goes on, if things get exploited, you're going to look to the personnel and say, we're going to have to get better here. They got to do a better job of recruiting. They might have to bring in some more portal guys here, and here. We know they're going to have to do that on the offensive line. Hopefully they're in the process, especially with this last class, of developing guys, getting those guys bigger and stronger. And we'll see those guys grow. I mean, you have a lot of opportunities there. I mean, the Desir twins are a perfect example of how good do you think they're going to be in 2 years? Good Lord.
It's honestly, as I reflect on this game, the defensive side was a bit of surprise. Like the tackling, those details.
Yeah, the tackling was frustrating.
I don't think we were looking at the game terribly wrong. I don't think I was. That's a bad defense that you were able to march up and down the field on, but how was it going to be close? If you made those mistakes, if you had those penalties, if you did turn the ball over, if there were momentum swings like that, that allows for something to fester that leads to what happened on a Friday night, which is always what happens, it feels like, on a weeknight in the ACC. But those things had to happen in concert because I don't think that 21-0 run was a fluke when you're down 14-0. Scored 21 straight. That looked pretty sustainable to me, and you would force their quarterback into mistakes. But if you start the game on a 21-0 run, we're not talking about it. You needed to have that just to get back in the driver's seat, which you couldn't hold on to.
People are also right to be nervous, though, understanding that Miami is better than than Virginia from a personnel standpoint on the line of scrimmage. I actually think Virginia may have a better receiving core, but Miami's going to be tough. They're going to be rugged in the trenches. They're going to want to run the ball. You believe me, when they see this tape, they're going to test the chin with the quickness, and they should. It's exactly what you'll do, and everybody else will moving forward.
I think if you're past your own 40-yard line, if you're Mario, and it's 3rd and 2, I just call 2 runs up the middle.
Oh,
you got
of
2
course
plays.
You do. Yeah,
3rd and 3. You got 2 plays.
Yeah, run it twice.
Let's see if they can hold up twice. I don't think they can. And at that point, now you scare us. You put that fear into the defensive coordinator where it's now I just need to get 7 yards in the first 2 downs, and I'll just call runs up the middle 2 plays in a row. Like, that's the thing that I think if you're looking for where can this get away from you is the helplessness of Miami getting into short yardage and not being able to do anything about it at that point. That's the fear this week.
Well, that's what you want to see, meaning
you want to see the response.
Yeah, well, Are they helpless? They were
right.
not helpless against Alabama.
Correct.
Are they going to be helpless against Miami against the run because they lack the depth or physicality in the trenches to do something about it? We'll find out. Because there will be people who would argue, well, Miami's offensive line is better than Alabama's. And or their defensive line is better than Alabama's. So we'll see.
Darryl had a good game against them last year. That was as he was ascending back into form. He'll need to be one of your star players on Saturday night.
Above and Beyond Player of the Week. Let's get to it here in this segment. AboveandBeyondVR.com. Tom, hit the sounder. We'll talk about one of these great properties at Above and Beyond.
Above and Beyond. Above and Beyond. Above and Beyond.
Above
and Beyond.
727-253-5995. You can see if you're watching online one of those properties, downtown Dunedin. Sleeps 12. Look at the size of that place with a big ass pool, buddy.
Palatial pool, 4 bedrooms, 3-night rate for 4 bedrooms, $1,830 before the savings.
Total.
This is a weekend in November, and we're starting to get to that time where I think a lot of folks who are listening to us are in the cold and they want a break. How about downtown Dunedin in November where it'll be 75 and sunny for you?
And by the way, obviously you're going with another couple or two. You're not spending hardly any money to do so. And if you type in the code JCS, you're saving.
Look at that tiki bar.
I like the tiki bar. I'd spend a lot of time at that tiki bar if I were staying at that property. Yeah, you got Main Street right over there, so you're good to go. Where are you going to go with this? We always give it to a player or a coach.
Honestly, I'm going to go to the Ryder Cup briefly, and I'm going to give it to Scotty Scheffler's opponents.
Well, they're all under par by 100. It's unreal.
They birdied more than half the holes they played against him this week.
That's what I mean.
Whoever played him, I think it was 64 holes of golf, something like that. It was upper 60s, and the birdie rate was over 50%.
So when we were talking on the phone,
That's insane.
I was frustrated like everybody else. You were rooting for America to win the Ryder Cup. But I saw some of those early numbers, and I went, well, if they're going to make every putt, you're going to lose. If they're going to make every single putt, you're going to lose.
Which is how they felt for about an hour yesterday. They're like, well, if America's going to make every
putt, right. Yeah, I'll give kudos once again, unfortunately, to the Europeans who, for whatever reason, and there are lots of reasons, are able to win on U.S. soil. They retain the cup 15-13. They win on U.S. soil. It was an ugly look for the American fans that were heckling there. It was crossing the line. It was not. You saw Tom Watson today?
No, what did he say?
Apologized on behalf of Ryder Cuppers everywhere and American golf fans.
Oh, there you go. Well, he was waiting for a moment, too, because of his problems, dust-ups with the PGA of America. But he's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
This is the third time Europe has won on American soil this century. The U.S. hasn't won in Europe since the first year of the Clinton administration, 1993.
The Belfry.
Europe is 3-3 on the road this century, as I say. Europe has won 9 of the last 12 Ryder Cups.
That's why they have enlisted us to the cause, and we are going to bring the Ryder Cup home for all of America when we go to Adair Manor in 2 years.
You and I will go, and we'll represent properly, but also
yes,
properly.
Important.
But I would also point out, that the U.S. Golf Academy, Team Academy, is only like a couple of years in to its existence.
Oh, in Frisco?
Yeah. They've had it in Europe forever. They grow up playing like that. The 4-ball, the alternative shot, foursomes.
They should just call it alt shot. Can we stop with this?
Yeah. But we got to get better at that. We're always buried. And then it's like, okay, well, you might win the singles because a lot of times we have the better players, but dude, you can't be that far down.
Right.
What do you expect is going to happen?
Yeah, there was a moment in Rome where it looked like on Sunday with the singles, like, well, I mean, they're not dead. Same thing in France. There was about an hour. You're
winning
like,
the singles, you got a shot. Yeah.
Right. The captain should just have the singles be on day one. There you go. Build the lead. Change the format.
Change the format. By the way, one side note has nothing to do with nothing. Did you know the envelope rule?
No. It had never come up in my lifetime that I'm aware of.
Me neither. That's a stupid rule.
No, they should just have the captains play each other. I think that should be the rule. At that point.
That's a fun rule, Tom, but I'll just say this. If your player can't play, you lose.
Yeah.
How about that rule? Your guy needs to buck up. If he can't play, you lose. That sucks for you. Yeah. Get tougher, Victor. What are we doing?
Or just designate an alternate.
Which would be weird because that guy would have to show up and just stand around.
Well, it could be the vice captain, so like, oh my God, Patty Harrington's grabbing his clubs.
Actually, that'd be dangerous. He's still good. You'd be like, damn it, man.
It'd be its own storyline. That'd actually be pretty cool.
If the captains had played each other, I like Keegan over Luke.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I would have felt pretty good about it. But damn it, man. So anyhow, by the way, save a bunch of money. Use that promo code JCS. Our friends at AboveAndBeyondVR.com are kick ass. 30-plus properties, 18 of which have a pool. There's all kinds of rates that you're going to save on when you go in with a group of people. You'll see what I'm talking about. A little excursion, a little getaway as the weather gets cooler right there on the beach for family and friends. AboveAndBeyondVR.com is where you need to go with that. Catch up in the chat real quick. Can we do to Beck what we did to Simpson, who, by the way, has gone on to play really, really well? Simpson, when given time, is throwing darts. both Heisman hopefuls. We shut down one. Can we shut down the other? Going to have to get pressure. We got pressure on Simpson. Now, he was able to avert some of that, but when we got him off his spot, he didn't make a lot of plays in the passing game. So maybe we can. We'll see if we can do the same to back there. I will again, I want to point out, though, that Simpson just went on the road and beat Georgia. And if you were judging by the Florida State-Alabama game, you would have said as an Alabama fan or anybody else, he won't do that. Well, he did. So you can get better, and you can learn from mistakes, and you can adjust game plans. See what Florida State does in this game against Miami. How do they handle it? Clearly, they just had an element of their defense get exposed, and some of this is going to really come down to the pride of the defenders that were allowing for those extra yards after contact. You're going to have to be angry when you come to tackle, and you're going to have to be form sound when you come to tackle to get guys on the ground.
This is where the matchup really helps you.
Because there's no doubt they will be.
Yeah, the stakes of this game. For example, if you switched out Miami and Georgia Tech was coming to town this week, I'd be like, oh, man, that's just boring enough of an opponent that, you're going to do it. You're going to rise up, but it's not going to be definitive in terms of your response. Miami, 7:30? Oh, buddy, you don't have to worry about anything in that regard.
No, what I worry about is the opposite. I worry that you'll show
good enough.
Yeah, well, yeah. Are they good enough? But also, do you have too much emotion in you at home, wanting to rebound and maybe you're way over the top?
I honestly think that was the first quarter last week, and I hope that's what they see and they guard against whatever the preparation was, because I felt like there was just a little bit extra going on in the first quarter of that game, and everybody needed to calm the hell down.
So we got a question about a 3rd and 2 situation. Robert wants to know, we're Tony White. What's our short yardage situation? What's our personnel? Well, I already mentioned that you're going to get a shot in the arm here, because we now know that in addition to Daniel Lyons and Desir, you're going to have Kevin Wynn and Darrell Jackson. And if you want to play a 4-man front in that situation with some of your bigger linebackers like Herring as well, walking up on 3rd and short yardage situation, you could have Wynn and Jackson in the game at the same time. And suddenly you have two 315 plus pounders out there, 330 plus pounders out there.
That's one thing I want to watch again. I've only seen the game, the live time, but when I do it, I do watch the replays.
Yeah.
But I got to look at Jason Jenkins. What's going on there? 97.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an amazing story that he's available, but is he able to push people around? Because I would tell you before the season started, before his injury, so let's go back to spring, and you asked that question, Jason Jenkins, Darrell Jackson would be two of the answers right away to stuff the run.
Do you want to see more of Deontay McCray instead of James Williams?
He makes more flash plays, but I don't know if there's substance to that, or it's just that he'll make 2 or 3 really good plays a game and then make mistakes at other moments in the game.
You want to see more Jaden Jones than James Williams?
I really got to look at those edges on the rewatch.
You want to see more Darrell Desir instead of James Williams?
I think we both agree that Darrell and Juju are going to anchor, and Herring needs to be out there in a 3rd and 2.
Yes.
Earl near the line of scrimmage. It's probably
might even throw a little AJ Cottrell out there in the linebacker core. I mean, come on now.
He played a lot of snaps.
I'm proud of that guy. But the reason I bring him up, he's like 230 pounds. He's not afraid to stick his head in there.
If Barker's healthy for this game, you want him. That quarterback sack was.
Well, that's well designed, by the way. It's also well designed, and they're throwing it back out in the route, and he doesn't stand in to block.
But a lot of times, the corner or the safety will arrive and then not know what to do.
Oh, he's a big man.
Ashland knows what to do.
Oh yeah. Well, he engulfed him. Yeah. What's funny is they don't chip in that situation because he's going out in the route. The back is, and you see your boy at quarterback is like, "Oh, I don't have enough time." Like he was trying to think of, can I step out? Can I throw a duck?
Can I juke him? No.
It was just it's cool to watch the clock and to see the gears turn. It is a turn. He's very fast. I'm dead. I'm going to go ahead and fetal position this thing.
And in live time, as you're watching, you're thinking this could be a fumble. And nobody ever roots for this. I'm not saying that, but this also looks like a play where somebody could get hurt. Just the way that That is.
You got to get down. He does the right thing. He gets down.
Yes, he does. It's a veteran play.
Yeah.
A younger player might have to exit the game after that.
Oh, ribs may be shattered. Try to do something desperate. He's like, nope. I've seen this before. Nope.
You know who's really good at that actually was Peyton.
Oh,
Manning.
yeah. Recognizing.
Hardly ever would he be
about to get hammered.
outsmarted,
Yeah.
but man, that dude would just drop to the ground.
Like, oh, this is not a fight I can win. That man is 310 pounds and moving very quickly.
It's like Kenobi's cloak. And from the original Star Wars, like zoop, right down on the ground.
One final note, again, aboveandbeyondvr.com. Go check out the properties. You'll be happy that you did. You'll save a lot of money because there are no middleman fees. None of that Airbnb nonsense. You're good to go. Aboveandbeyondvr.com. Hey, let me tell you about my friends at Tried and True Consulting, a Seminole-owned business that specializes in payments and business solutions. Tried and True's core expertise includes card, ACH, point of sale, mobile, e-commerce, and hosted payment solutions. Tried and True will help you reduce costs and increase your bottom line. That always sounds nice. Whether you're a retailer, restaurant, licensed professional, or service industry, Tried and True is saving you money. Tried and True's expertise extends to payroll, video menu ad boards, IT services, web design, and social media. It's time to make one call and tell the competition to take it on down the road. Call Don or Joe today at 844-464-6653. That's 844-464-6653. When you do business with Tried and True, they contribute 10% of the net revenue to the battle's end. So go Tried and True today. Call 844-464-6653.
Cannonball! I call Swain Pools and Spas. Now I'm soaking up the fun when I want to.
Make this summer a Swain summer. Choose Swain Pools and Spas for all your regular monthly or weekly scheduled pool maintenance, repairs, restoration, and renovation. Swain Pools and Spas is Tallahassee's pool everything store. Whether it's a deep clean, a resurfacing, or a full refresh, Swain's team will have you swimming, not skimming, in no time. Make a splash this summer and have a Swain summer. Find out all the ways Swain Pools and Spas can upgrade and maintain your backyard. Online at swainpools.com. That's swainpools.com.
The next 3 free flow Azure spas will be available half price. First come, first served.
Swain Pools and Spas.
And right next to Swain Pools and Spas is Tallahassee Car Care, the only repair shop where you can take a dip while we repair your whip. Tallahassee Car Care, right next to Swain Pools and Spas.
Cannonball!
Hey, everybody, this is Shannon Young with Cross Country Mortgage. Been in the industry now for 22 years. I just made the move over to the nation's largest retail lender, Cross Country Mortgage, here to serve you in 7 states, including Florida, Georgia, Alabama, the Carolinas, Tennessee, and the state of Texas. Here to offer better service, better rates, and if you were thinking about buying or if you've been on the fence and been waiting to call me, now is the time. You can still find me at loansforknowles.com. That is, again, loansforknowles.com. I've helped thousands of fellow Knowles get into their dream home, and I can't wait to help you get into yours. Give me a call today. I'm at 954-369-6171, or go to loansforknowles.com. Again, that's 954-369-6171, and that's loansforknowles.com.
Equal housing lender. NMLS number 373031.
This week's Legacy Moment, brought to you by Cornerstone Memorials, shines a light on Miss Althea Jackson. For 2 decades, she ran the Southside Community Garden, teaching children how to plant, harvest, and grow with pride. Her collard greens were legendary, but it was her warm heart that truly nourished the neighborhood. When Miss Althea passed in 2021, neighbors planted rows of sunflowers in her honor. Her legacy still blooming right here in Tallahassee. This has been a legacy moment, honoring the lives that shaped the org. Do you know of a Tallahassee legacy that should be shared? Text the word legacy to 850-386-8255 to submit your story for the Cornerstone Memorial's Legacy Moment.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
So I'm not going to be surprised, and I do want to say it now on a Monday, if Florida State plays very well on Saturday night and that this game is close into the second half and we've got a very good shot at winning it. You might think after losing to Virginia, a lot of people will jump to the conclusion this will not be a close game. I don't think that's the case. I think that is going to be an electric atmosphere, and I think that if you can start quickly, and this offense has been good now, it's a different test. Miami's defense is good, but if you can dial something up early and you get this crowd going and you put pressure, you shift the pressure to Miami in a situation where they're favored to win the game. They look like they have the better personnel overall so far on the year, and all of a sudden they're trailing their first real road test of the road test of the year. Period, buddy. That thing could spiral. I mean, there's enough around college football right now to make you wonder who's elite. Again, there's a chance Oregon and Ohio State are, although I watch Ohio State's offense and I'm not impressed, but they are loaded on defense. They have so many NFL players on defense. So we'll see. And obviously they've got the best receiver in the country too, but they're inconsistent. They're weird. They played with their food against Washington. Washington went with the stupid fake field goal. If they hadn't done that, just go for it if you're going to go for it. Don't fake the field goal. I hate that nonsense. But Washington's offense couldn't get anything going. That's a credit to Ohio State, but that game was incredibly low scoring for a long time. It was like,
Yeah, unless you're Les Miles or D'Antonio against Notre Dame. Let's go easy on the fake field goals.
Yeah, I mean, it's just anyhow. I don't see that team that I think is impenetrable. I don't see that team that looks like they're a lot of times you have a whole season where you're like, man, they're not going to lose. That team right there is not going to lose, barring a massive upset.
Honestly,
I don't see that team.
I think if you're a Miami fan, you go lovely when you see that result last Friday. You go, man, I think it would have been better for us as Miami if it was ho-hum one way or the other, but not like this and not exposing those weaknesses. You could look at it two ways if you're a Miami fan. One, I'm excited to see that they're deficient in the following areas.
Yes.
Cannot wait to test our offensive line against their defensive line.
Right.
That's one way. The other way is, oh, man, now they're going to be furious. They were already going to be up for the game, but now there's going to be a little bit of extra coming from that sideline. And you have the potential for this to be a true hornet's nest on Saturday night.
Yeah, I don't
from
disagree.
The players. The fans are already going to do that. The atmosphere is going to be outstanding with the fans and in the stands. But the way that we fly to the ball, it's going to look a lot like the Alabama game.
I'm pretty excited to think about that atmosphere. I'm excited to see the energy and feel the energy in the building. It did the wind got taken out a little bit early in the week. Now, I woke up thinking about that game, Florida State, Miami. I get the hangover from some of the fans, some of the energy sapped. I get it. But I think by midweek, we're going to feel really good about this game. And I don't mean really good as in, we're going to walk in thinking we're going to win. I mean, I don't know the answer to that right now. I mean, I'll wait on that gut. I'll wait on a little bit. I want to hear a few more things this week from the coaches before I decide where I'm going with this game as far as the pick goes. I leaned towards Miami in the preseason in this game when we did our W's and L's. Obviously, beating Alabama kind of changed the way you viewed what was possible right out the gates. But I did worry about our defensive personnel against their offensive line, and I still am worried about that. But you can overcome some of that. I wonder what Gus is going to dial up offensively. He's been on it. I'm kind of curious the way he attacks this Miami defense.
There's a question I have. I wonder if he had to use more than he wanted to on Friday, and the answer is probably yes.
Oh, I'm sure.
Where he's thinking, really, I got to burn this other trick in my bag.
That throwback.
The throwback, yeah.
I don't think he wanted to have to show that. And it's a touchdown.
Yes, it was. And he kept coming up with more stuff and more stuff.
Except for that problematic area of the stadium field that you're talking about.
First and goal at the 10. Yeah, if we're in first goal at 10.
If we're at the 9 or the 10, I don't feel great.
Yeah. Just run it up the middle on first down. Don't mess around because we drop back and it looks like Tommy doesn't know what to do.
Well, and again, we have nobody out in the routes. I mean, it's like max protect. There's two people.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either.
Just give it to Randy then. You know what?
Yeah.
How about first and goal from the 10? Randy Pittman 4 times. There you go.
I was talking about Ohio State. So Georgia had the nation's longest home winning streak. It's what got snapped when Alabama beat them over the weekend. You know who had the second longest home winning streak that got snapped over the weekend? Washington. So that loss to Ohio State, you lose to the number one team in the country, no shame. That was the second longest home winning streak that was snapped. Top 10 teams dropping like flies. You talk about the teams that went on the road and got huge wins, Oregon and Alabama, which is true. Franklin, again, revealing that he's not going to win games that matter. And the rest of college football is kind of weird. There are a lot of moments where you go, what is happening here? Why is Wake up by 17 over Georgia Tech? What? Mississippi State, look at you out here balling, hanging in there. That crazy game with Tennessee. We were at a wedding, and I was, buddy, look at this game.
That also gives me a little bit of a window. You could conspiracy theory this thing and say, well, if Mississippi State's hanging with Tennessee and we beat Alabama and Georgia's close, maybe it's all mediocre. Maybe it's just all mediocre here. Maybe Mississippi State's a tell.
I'll tell you what I'm worried about in this game, too. Ruben Bain has been phenomenal so far, and we loved Bain when we saw him the first time when he was a freshman. You're like, man,
we had him for like 10 minutes.
We're like, that kid's going to be awesome.
And Mesidor's been there for 25 years.
Forever. But, I mean, that kid, he's already got the 2 sacks, got the 11 tackles. He's forced to fumble. Every time I look up, we see him, you're like, oh, this dude's really good.
Well, this is a classic case of stay out of third and passing, because if in the early downs, you're just going to put those dudes in conflicts. Now, they're going to still make plays, and you go, how the hell did he know, or how did he get to that spot? And that's going to drive you nuts. But Gus feasts on in situations like this. He's like, I'm not going to block you anyway. You're just going to be the guy that we read off of.
I wanted to look at Mesidor. Yeah, I want to see what the combo was here. The two of them both have 19 pressures.
Ooh.
Their pass rush win rate ranks them in the top 6, both of them, nationally.
6 is also the number of how many years ago he was in high school, it feels like, for Mesidor.
Miami's 13th in the nation in rushing defense. So,
haven't faced murderer's row of offenses, it should be noted.
I'm just pointing out those are some lofty numbers. In fact, if you go and look at game on paper and you look at any of the statistics you want, and there are a lot of them, success rate, any number of things, Miami's offensive and defensive lines rate through the roof. Now, again, very small set of sample size data set. There's not a ton there, but there's enough meat on the bone to say, well, those rankings are very good. And they did play Florida's defense, and they did play Notre Dame, who's not a bad team. I think we're going to see Notre Dame's going to go on to have a good year.
Sure, just offensively, they were in between.
They weren't ready yet. Yeah. They weren't there yet. But that's what gives you hope. Road game, they caught Notre Dame at the right time. Florida doesn't have an offense. Okay, so there are enough mitigating factors that leave a little bit of doubt. But if that's your team, and, obviously we embrace the record-breaking numbers we were putting up against lesser foes, every fan base does this. You would present to the audience the statistics that Miami has in the top 10 of almost every category built around the line of scrimmage. They're all very, very good numbers. And so, you're going to look at that early in this game with Florida State. I think the side I'm going to look at most, because I trust Gus to get the ball out of Tommy's hands quickly, to do what you said. We'll just read you. We're not going to block you. We couldn't if we wanted to anyhow. That's fine. Defensively is where it's at. Do you come up, make stops? Do you stop Miami? Do you get them out of their comfort zone? Are they behind the chains? Does he have to make throws to what I think are good but not great receivers? Does he have to make throws? And do you get him off his spot?
Yeah, Tony's the best player, I think. And I know he's a true freshman, but that's going to work for some years.
Yeah. He's a good player.
But I do want to see first half, second half Notre Dame. What gives? They did anything they wanted in the first half, and I remember it was a lot of man-to-man coverage, and every time they got into third and whatever, it's man-to-man, and then Beck will just drop it on a spot, and that's that. But when things got tight, I know there's the one drive where they get conservative, they just want to kick the field goal. That's in the fourth quarter. But how did Notre Dame climb back into this game? And what happened to Miami offensively that they got in a rut? Because there isn't a whole lot to look at from Miami's season to derive a lot of insight.
I'll tell you what happened as to why they got in a rut. their leading rusher had fewer than 70 yards running the ball. So they got very predictable, and Notre Dame, kept. I mean, Beck was whatever he 2 touchdowns in that game. I think he was 19 of 30, 18 of 30. So whatever I remember the numbers being, but he
did they fall in love with the pass? Is that what happened when they were up big on Florida and now you got a game? How did it get there? Like those kinds of things. Is Dawson falling in love with the pass when the run is right in front of him in terms of just keep running the ball? Your offensive line's winning. Like what gives there that these games are close when it feels like the way they both started, Notre Dame and Florida, they shouldn't have been close. How did it get close? What happened?
Yeah, it's interesting. The second half of that game does see Carr play pretty well. He starts to get comfortable, a little bit more comfortable. But you look, I just pulled it up since we were asking about it. I thought, well, you don't have to guess, Jeff. The internet exists. Miami had 339 yards total in that game. Notre Dame had 314, but Notre Dame had 2 turnovers and Miami had none. Miami outgained Notre Dame 20-18 in first down, so no real stark difference there.
They had the one exceptional play that should have been intercepted at the goal line. The kid goes up the receiver for Miami and makes a catch.
Great catch.
In the first half, I think that was.
Penalty differential was 1. 6 for Miami, 5 for Notre Dame.
That's going to be huge in this game, I think. Offensive pre-snap penalties, things like that. Like being in 2nd and 15 in this game, that makes a huge difference.
It's interesting. Miami struggled mightily in that game on 3rd down. So too did Notre Dame. But Miami was 4 of 13 on 3rd down. But they were 2 of 3 on 4th down. So kind of overcame that and got it in short yards, which you think they're going to do in this game, which is they're going to say 3rd and 3 from Florida State's 37. You've got 2.
That's the way they should do it. Now, Mario might think something completely different. There was a time not that long ago when Mac Brown rolled into Tallahassee with 2 transcendent running backs and said, hey, let's throw it 50 times. So Mario could do that.
And Mario has often left his fan base scratching their heads in frustration for the decisions that he's made late in games.
I feel like getting to 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3 that should be the goal. And at that point, we're only just beginning, and now we got you where
it's like the Eagles with the tush push. It's like, okay, well,
Cam Newton.
Cam Newton back in the day, yeah. You're like, oh well, he's too big.
3rd and 2, you're like, well, they're moving the chains.
Yep, first down.
Need a fumbled snap or a false start.
Yeah, some sort of penalty. That's true. Shannon Young, my man, working currently with Cross Country Mortgage. If you are out looking for a new home, want to ensure that you get the best loan options, reach out to Shannon. I can't say enough great things about him. Loansforknowles.com is the website to learn more. 20-plus years of experience. He's a relentless, goal-oriented guy who is unwavering in his commitment to you. Done great work. He's now in 7 states, Florida, Georgia, Bama, Tennessee, Texas, and the Carolinas. Stronger support, faster response. Help you get that dream home. Loansforknowles.com.
Local news now.
A man was shot in Tallahassee on Texas Street. Persecution. Adelson's attorneys also asked to interview 2 jurors who returned the guilty verdict, but their request was also denied. This is Rachel Anae with your Real Talk 93.3 local news update, brought to you by Macklemore Systems, Tallahassee's go-to Mac store. Check them out online at MacklemoreSystems.com.
Now, here's your Tallahassee weather report.
From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy. It is very humid out there due to the moisture ahead of the cold front that it will be pushing through into tomorrow. And there is a good amount of shower activity ahead of that as well that we will be seeing through the night tonight into the early parts of tomorrow morning. Now, these showers will most likely linger into the afternoon as well. Some heavy downpours and rumbles of thunder are going to be associated with them. Temperatures are going to be dropping as well into the mid to upper 80s. Overnight lows tonight will be in the low 70s. From the ABC 27 First to Know Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Jillian Preddy.
Looking to upgrade your backyard, your business, or even your life?
then you've got to check out Southeast Portable Buildings right here in Tallahassee.
That's right. Southeast Portable Buildings has everything: sheds, cabins, carports, and now beautiful decks to go with them.
Imagine a brand new storage building and a deck out front. Perfect for that morning coffee or for your family gatherings.
Need something custom? No problem. They'll work with you to find exactly what fits your needs. Big or small, simple or stylish.
And with easy financing options, you can make your dream space happen sooner than you think.
Southeast Portable Buildings, where you're not just getting a building, you're getting a lifestyle upgrade. Give our friends a call today, 850-580-6400. That's 850-580-6400.
Southeast Portable Buildings.
Big buildings.
Big decks.
Big dreams.
Southeast Portable Buildings on West Tennessee Street, just north of Capitol Circle in Tallahassee.
Standing water can pose a serious threat after a hurricane. It can be electrically charged if a fallen power line is submerged. There could be displaced wild animals or harmful bacteria growing. It could be much deeper than you think. After a storm, turn around and don't drown. Never walk or drive through standing water. For more tips on hurricane safety, check out the Hurricane Guide at floridadisaster.org/guide.
This message is sponsored by the Florida Division of Emergency Management, the Florida Association of Broadcasters, and this radio station.
The Jeff Cameron Show is a production of the Warchant.com Multimedia Network. Check out Warchant.com today for the latest news inside Florida State athletics. That's Warchant.com. Now, back to Jeff on Real Talk 93.3.
The thought will be add to the confusion in a weekend in which number 3, number 4, number 5, number 8, number 21, number 24 all lose. Number 15, number 16 go to overtime against unranked teams. You are watching a jumbled mess. Win on Saturday, add Miami in your name to the jumbled mess. It is potentially a cluster you-know-what and trying to figure out who belongs where. I want us, wreck it. Add to the confusion. Who's Florida State? They beat Alabama and Miami and got beat by Virginia? Who's Miami? Dominate Florida defensively. Beat Notre Dame, lose to Florida State in their first road test, who just lost to Virginia. What are they? What's Alabama? Manhandled physically by Florida State. Immediately get better. Quarterback looks comfortable on the road in Athens, ending the nation's longest home winning streak. Then again, who's Georgia? Lucky to beat Tennessee, lose at home to Alabama, who got housed by Florida State. You could just play the game, and I want to play the game. Add your name to the merry-go-round. Let's have fun with it. That's a whole lot. Everybody, after Georgia Tech beat Clemson, said, well, Georgia Tech has graduated to be a different kind of program. Except for when they're losing by 17 in the second half to Wake and barely surviving. So we'll see. I mean, maybe Georgia Tech's good. I think they're well coached. I like a lot of their personnel. We'll see how good they are.
This is a Lou Holtz, I think, prime season for the Lou Holtz clip. I should have it at the ready. It's now at the ready anytime you need it, because transitive property in college football this year is impossible for what you're saying, the parody of it.
If you get it, if you can get more of it, I love it. You already had a lot of it. You've already got a lot of it. It's been fun. I'm just kind of curious just to see how jumbled and convoluted it can be. And if you beat Miami on Saturday, and it's an if, obviously Miami's favored, and you're going to have to bounce back from a disappointing loss to Virginia. But if you can do it, all of a sudden you're like, okay, all right, we've got mass confusion in college football.
Yeah, we're back in the playoff hunt. One win away.
Yeah, yes, that would be true. If you beat Miami, you are in the playoff hunt, along with apparently 30 teams.
Well, I know that. They bring the income.
It's possible, certainly, that you go out there and you're not good enough in the trenches, and Miami beats you, and now you are relegated to a class just below the upper crust. And again, that wouldn't mean your season is over. We did not project this to be a playoff team. The win over Alabama greatly change the way you viewed what was possible. If you lose on Saturday and you have back-to-back losses, now you're going to ask yourself, all right, how great is the culture here? We know areas they're going to have to get better at, but do they go on and dominate these teams whom they're going to be favored over the rest of the way? Because they will be favored in all of their remaining games, save for maybe Clemson. We'll see how Clemson responds with the schedule that they have before we get in there. If they turn around and start winning some games, you might be a road underdog to Clemson. Other than that, I mean, I don't know. I think you're probably going to be favored over Florida at this point, given the situation they find themselves in. But if we really wanted to have some fun, let Florida beat Texas this weekend.
I mean, obviously these games happened before when there was a 2-team playoff or the Bowl Alliance before the BCS. But this is essentially a playoff game for Florida State. For Miami, they could suffer a setback here and still have a lot of their goals yet to be achieved, and that's their one loss. But for Florida State, this is much like it was 30 years ago, 20 years ago, when this rivalry was at its apex. Because we have the loss now, it has that do or die feeling that was, you couldn't lose one game. But now the second one is you're out. So this has that no safety net kind of feeling and that urgency on top of the fact that it's Miami and Miami's coming into town as a top 3 team in the country. Like this, it's got all the juice in the world. It's going to take probably a day or two for the town to feel like that. It would have been already had we beaten Virginia, but this is going to have all the juice in the world on the weekend.
Well, what's fascinating is we've seen this before. Miami is sure that this version with Beck at quarterback is the one that's finally going to kick through and make the ACC championship game and win the conference. I mean, right now, the way they sit today, they believe that with all of their heart. And so you would love to just, once again, as has been the case for the last 20 plus years, add to the seasons that suggest that the false hope of Miami fans is being realized yet again. That the thing they thought they were most sure of turned out to be a mirage yet again. That the trophy case that features the ACC championship remains empty. All these years. So many years.
Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M has one more trophy than Miami has as an ACC football member. Because remember, they gave him the one that was without a year on it, national championship.
Oh, the empty one. That's
so,
yeah.
So Jimbo's got one more trophy than Miami does in the ACC.
It's fun. Just remains dusty and devoid of an actual trophy. Nothing there, just that blank spot. After having been told, as they did so many times upon entrance into the league, well, this is soon to be the All Canes Conference. Except it's just never been. Not even one time. Not even one time.
The ACC may die before the U is back. It could be gone before they make their return. And they will be asking a lot of questions on that drive home. If we deliver them.
They'll dust off the VCR tapes to watch the old national championships that most have forgotten about. All right, there is no Major League Baseball tonight, but the playoffs start tomorrow, and in full they start tomorrow. It is a robust slate to get you through the week, to kind of ease you towards the back end of this week where the nervous energy will build and you will be pumped for Florida State, Miami. Old school. It's still a bit of an old school feel to this Saturday, even after the loss to Virginia. No doubt some of the air has been taken out of the balloon. No doubt. That's on us. That's on us. But there's still a little there.
Well, the loss does that because
it ratchets it up.
Now it's like it used to be for us. From their perspective, they got a strike. We do not.
Cue it up. Let's do probables for the playoff games, which begin tomorrow. I said it at the beginning of the show. I want to reiterate that schedule for those that are wondering. Toronto, obviously, winning the East means the Yankees are hosting the wild card series against the Red Sox for all 3. If it goes that far, 6 p.m. starting tomorrow, Yankee Stadium. Tigers, Guardians, 1 p.m. Padres, Cubs, ABC, all 3 games scheduled for 3 p.m. Dodgers hosting the Reds, 9 p.m. ESPN. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, these series. Then we get the divisional round starting on Saturday. I didn't allow you to say the probables part of it, but
Do I play the music? What are we doing? Well, the music's so good, I had to play the music.
Well, now you can hit the probables part and then replay the music.
It's time for, how you say, with the pitching, probables?
That's my fault. I took us out of order there. The Tigers and the Guardians will go at it tomorrow.
I'll show you out of order.
1:08 p.m. That wasn't bad.
Thank you.
Tariq Skubal, of course, going for the Tigers. And in a short series, no matter how well Cleveland has played, and they did, track down the Tigers who had a 15.5 game lead on them not all that long ago. You still got to be nervous because Skubal can be lights out. Gavin Williams will go for the Guardians. The Padres and the Cubs in the Windy City. I wish I were at the Cubby Bear. Drinking several Old Styles on my way into Wrigley.
Old Style is a
beer.
Okay.
An old Midwestern beer.
All right. Gotta try it. Do you think it's better than the Steel City?
Iron City?
Iron City. I always call it Steel City. Icy Light. Yeah.
It's not better than Iron City now.
Okay.
In fact, the Old Style kind of sucks.
Okay. So it's like PBR.
Yeah, you're like, in a pinch.
PBR has a great logo, a great presentation.
But you don't love PBR?
No.
Do you remember Stroh's? You old enough to remember Stroh's?
No.
Stroh's used to have great commercials with a dog in it. I don't know. Do they make Stroh's anymore? You and I had a Mick Light.
We did.
Not a Mick Ultra, a Mick Light over the weekend.
Somebody found a sixer of Jello shot can. Thank you.
Well done. Padres, Cubs, Nick Pivetta, Matthew Boyd. Red Sox, Yankees, Garrett Crochet, Max Fried.
Wow. Okay.
And then the late night game tomorrow, Cincinnati and the Dodgers. Hunter Green, you know, is going for Cincinnati. The Dodgers still don't know. They don't know who they're going to start as of today, TBD. And that is a look at those that shall reside on the bump for playoff baseball starting tomorrow. Man. Congratulations, Sean and Alicia. We love you. And we were honored to be at your wedding.
It was a good time.
It was a great time. Stayed for the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah, that shuttle was, what time was that? Like 11:40?
It was 11 something, yeah. Where did you go? I ended up going back to the bar at the Astoria or whatever.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Well, we were on the deck for a while, but then they shut down operations, and so I went to downtown St. Pete for a little while.
You stayed out. I did not. We went
Let
back.
the good times keep rolling.
Yeah, it was good times. Good times. Good work out of you. Good work, everybody. Thanks for listening. We appreciate you always. We'll be back with you tomorrow. The Smash tonight, 7 o'clock.
7 p. Eastern.
Tomorrow you'll get headlines and my bonus hour. And until then, peace.